with a brain and reasonable ability. Stop whining and find something to do. The thing is to keep smiling and never look as if you disapprove.
Let's get back to painting, y'all.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's get back to painting, y'all. Let's get back to painting. Of course, as always, let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. We are having a couple of issues in the background, so we were making sure we got that. One of them being that even though it's 10 o'clock in the morning, I feel like it's 6. I slept well too, and I'm on my second cup of coffee, but for some reason, it hasn't quite kicked in. And welcome in, everybody. We are excited for today's show. It's been a while, right? It's been a couple of months since I had YouTubers on to teach them how to paint. So I'm happy to bring that back to the channel. Hope that you've missed it. Hope that you're looking forward to it as much as I am. And I'm working on getting other people. Force of Light supposed to be on. Michelle got sick. Like things are happening. People are busy. It is okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like we're making art regardless. I see the Fantastic is here. Is this live or recorded? What a silly question. This is where the fun begins. I sound beautiful. Good morning. Good morning. The Elixir's out there. Juliet's is good afternoon. And we got the paintbrushes, the splats, the tools. Cheers. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Well, guys, without further ado, let's just go ahead and bring our special guest in for today. Many of you know her. Some of you might not. So, oh, and it's Dakota saying good morning. So many of you might know her. Many of you might not. We're bringing that Tugg life to the channel.
I'm here. And those of you who do know me in the chat, it's my fault we're late because it's not a Tugg stream without any issues. Okay. I try my best. I'm like, oh no, I got everything. I got all my supplies. You guys can't see it, but I have everything right. I'm ready to go. This morning I wake up, I'm getting ready to make breakfast, and it hits me that I don't have black paint. So I had to run to Walmart to get black paint because I'm a freaking moron. And
this morning?
Yeah, literally ran to Walmart this morning to get black paint. Yep.
What? Yeah, it's kind of important when you're.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the crux of our painting today.
You know what I think happened is I got so sidetracked by that black canvas that I found that in my head.
Oh,
I had gotten the paint. You know what I mean? I had. I don't know. I'm an idiot. It's fine. We're not gonna talk about it. Anyway,
the fog brain happens. It comes for us all. People like Jessica Lindstrom saying hi, Tugg. So does Untamed Mando, the real Stephen TV tools. Let me see if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Arisaka, the Dapper Goose says morning, ladies. J Red, hello, says greetings. Oh, welcome into some new faces. Unless you guys are lurkers, and I just don't know that you're actually out.
I love lurkers.
Yeah, we do. Everybody's got I think everybody. Anybody who's anybody has a fun lurker emote. And if you guys don't know what my lurker emote is all about, you're going to have to join us for the book streams. The chat can tell you all about the book streams because I'm busy. Yeah. But speaking of books, today, guys, you may or may not know that Tuggs and I share a love.
We share love. Mutual custody of this love.
Of a certain movie known as The Mummy, 1999. Was it 99, 99,
yeah.
98? Yeah, 99. Right before the 2000s. And we're going to be doing the Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing not the Book of the Living.
No.
Because
where's the
fun in that?
I have a theme going apparently because last night, I didn't even do this on purpose, but last night my chat voted for me to play for Valentine's Day because what's more romantic than this? The game The Mortuary Assistant.
Oh, is that, I'm going to assume that's where you prep the dead?
Yes, but while you're doing that, you have to also fight off demons, like literal demons. And so it's scary. It's a horror game. We had fun. I had a blast. I cried and pooped my pants, but so we have a dead going on. And I was
Sounds
like, oh,
like a great Friday night.
yeah. And I was like, and then this morning it hit me that I'm like, oh, and now we're drawing the Book of the Dead. I should probably do something with live people at some point.
Well, you know, you needed people to be alive to read the Book of the Dead. They're the only reason the Book of the Dead exists is because there's live people. So, you know, it's all good. But I don't know what Tuggs's experience with painting is. We are going to find out today. And it's not going to be quite as scary as some people think. Or will it? Blum,
My
blum,
painting
blum.
skills will be.
So we're just going to go ahead and bring it in here. By the way, hit the like button if you haven't already. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let's get the fun started. So a lot of times when we see something in its entirety, it's very intimidating because we're like, how am I supposed to get from here to there? But I'm going to walk you through step. First step is pretty simple. Hey, iCannels, welcome in. First step is pretty simple. We'll get rid of this. And I'm going to be painting very long ways, portrait mode, however you want to look at it that way.
Portrait mode.
Then we are going to take the big brush. This is my 1-inch flat brush. By the way, if you guys at home have these supplies, you can paint right along with us. We literally are just going to be using black, metallic gold, metallic silver, which you could just use, flat colors too. For this particular project, I thought it would be really fun if we used metallic colors, but you can just make gold with regular colors.
Or
silver,
glitter. You have glitter.
gray, and then of course we have our beautiful tub of butter, white. I don't know where butter came from. And then of course I've got water, and then we just need these 3 brushes for today. So
I just want everybody to know that this is a twofold thing, because not only are you seeing my art skills, which I don't really have any, but not everything that you see that I'm using that I have brush wise, this cute little palette. I got everything except for the black paint and the canvas at the Dollar Tree.
Okay. Have you ever seen ELYSA Koshy's? This is like a long time ago. You know who ELYSA Koshy is? Oh my gosh.
So.
Okay, so she was a famous YouTuber back in the day. Now she's moved on to just interviewing celebrities and things like that. And she would do she would do the funniest videos about the dollar store, the Dollar Tree. And she would actually film herself like going in and dancing. And a couple of times I had to ask her to leave because she became such a regular at the Dollar Tree. And that's how she would say.
I love the Dollar Tree. I go there all the time. I
probably would go on YouTube and just like type in ELYSA Koshy dollar store or Dollar Tree, and it's just so funny because she's got like serious expressions on her face, like she's a very animated woman. The dollar, and she just like going to the Dollar.
That's amazing.
She's like, where did I get this basketball? At the Dollar Tree.
The Dollar Tree. Yeah, no, but seriously, they've got and they've really stepped up their game over the years. They've got some interesting. So yeah, everything here except for, like I said, the silver and the canvas. The canvas came from Dollar General though. So this is an 8x10 and it was 3 doll hairs instead of $10 or $20 that Hobby Lobby wanted to charge me. I said,
quite an expensive price. Doll hairs. Staccato DDS hits us with a $1.99. Said, you got this, Tuggs. You got this. Tommy Doyle says, hi, ladies. Cajun Corey says, Tuggs. But all right. We have to get started so that way we can let it dry before the fun stuff is. So I'm going to shake up my red. What is wrong with me today? Black.
It is 6 a.m. I don't care what the clock says. It's 6 a.m.
Clearly black. All right, here we go. We shaky. And because I'm just going to be whimsical about it, I am not going to take my brush and dip it in water because a lot of people do that. I'm not doing that today. But I'm just going to take a little bit of black paint and put it right there on the canvas.
We're just painting this whole canvas, right?
Yeah, we're going to paint the whole canvas black. Now, the thing that we want to do is be intentional with our brush stroke pattern, right? Now, you could just cover this however you want to. I personally like to do the Daniel Paint the Fence pattern.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Nice long strokes, I would say as even as possible. So I was telling Tuggs that when I painted this originally, I put an undercolor of maroon because in my mind, for some reason, I was thinking that, how can I make this look like leather? And then I realized, silly fool.
The book is not leather. It looks
made, it's made out of stone, like granite or something like that. So, so we're going to just paint this black Here we go. Nice long strokes. Now, the thing is, too, with the long strokes, number one, it helps to make it look a little more even and
Oh, please.
uniform. The other thing is, too, is that when you keep going back and forth to make it nice and even, you don't want to, it gets rid of the splotches because you don't want the paint to be too thick. This will increase or rather delay the dry time. Obviously, the
Ooh.
thicker the paint, the longer it takes to dry. So people
The
are
bright
saying
side.
wax on, wax off. Show me the paint the fence. What Mando says, like my relationship with coffee. That's a real woman that drinks black
coffee.
coffee. Mando, I gotta talk to you. I found a game that we can play. I gotta talk to you about it.
Mortuary Assistant. You should play Mortuaries.
Mortuary assistant. I don't really like the scary games, but I say
Oh,
as
man.
I'm gonna. Well, we tried playing. What was it, Phasmophobia or Demonologist together? That
That
was fun.
was so funny.
Tuggs
had
is
a
just
good
in there,
time.
like going to count, like a 1950s housewife. Oh, hey, where's everybody? It's scary in here, and it's like, okay, how are you not nervous?
Very nervous. I also found another game. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's called The Cabin Factory. And the point
Okay.
of The Cabin Factory is it was like $2 on Steam. And the point of the game is you are a factory worker, and this company makes like haunted cabins for like, I don't know, like Universal Studios Horror Nights or something, right?
Okay.
And
Oh, okay.
they flat out say like we pre-make these cabins for theme parks and for haunted houses, blah blah. But lately, we've been having some reports that their cabins are actually haunted, and so you have to go and check them. That game is terrifying.
Wow.
It's
I love,
absolutely
the thing
terrifying.
about horror films is that the premise never from what I've heard, because I'm not a horror person, the premise never seems to be that deep.
No.
Like it's really not like this. It's like, hey, we make haunted houses. For some strange reason, we've been noticing weird things happening around the sets.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
suddenly people are screaming and they are dying and it's all fun and games. My favorite thing that I hear about with horror movies and stuff like that is the random unnecessary nude chick
Oh, there's
that
always
serves
one.
serves absolute
No
no
purpose.
purpose
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
film. It's just whether she's a zombie or she's running for her life, and somehow her flannel shirt just tears apart like ancient, decrepit material that's been under the ground for 70 years. It's like, oh my
No.
gosh. And these chicks for some reason never wear support.
No,
Somehow.
bras are bad for you.
Yeah,
Nobody needs bras.
yeah, that's just
Especially
like
the older movies, like the 80s horror movies and stuff. There's nobody gets any clothes. Nobody gets clothes. But
and
there's a deeper, it's not really deep, but they talk about it and they talk about it in the movie Scream.
okay.
There's rules to horror movies with
Of
like,
course.
if you have if you're sexually active, like you're the first to go and things like that. And so
Is
it's
it
like
like the
there's
red shirt of Star Trek?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always the red shirts that are going it's that go first. So I'm just gonna
Mando says, "Ooh, I want to play Phasmophobia with you both." Mando,
okay.
I thought you loved me. I thought you cared. All right,
Tabitha
I'll
Tabitha
play with
playing
you.
Phasmophobia is so fun. Tabitha playing Demonologist would be even funnier.
I have played that game. I screamed. I think that was the time. Chat, remind me, was that when I used Pikachu as my shield?
Yes.
I think that's we were
Yes,
playing.
it was.
Yeah,
I think
and
it
I
was
just
Demonologist we played with Stevie. Now that I think
and
about
I
it, it
just like
wasn't
peeked
fast.
around the side. They're like, and Pikachu. Oh, the power of Pikachu compels me.
Listen, last night I had my Bible pillow, I had my cross on. We were ready. We were ready for the demons.
When we do things like that, I just kind of wonder if Jesus is like,
Really?
you brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
You deserve the nightmares.
He's like,
um,
oh, you wanted this in your house and now you're asking me for help? Okay.
I don't think so. I'm gonna sit outside until you really need me. The real Stephen TV says, "Go upstairs, Tuggs. If you know, you know."
No, I'm never going up the stairs. Screw that.
The stairs are scary places. Tuggs was
Everybody
scared
knows.
playing that game. Untamed Mano, of course you do. Of course. Hey, it's Brett. Hi, Tabitha. Hi, Tuggs. How are
Hi,
you
Brett.
two? We're making it.
Making it work. I'm trying to even out some of this paint a little because I think I went a little overboard.
But
Remind me.
well, if you mean like you use too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you just keep
Just
going back and forth. Now, if it's really if it's really piling together on the brush, you can always wipe the excess off if you brought a towel with you.
good.
And then you can just keep spreading. So you see here, I'm going to put my brush in the
Just keep spreading. Just keep
water.
spreading.
Super
Just
spreader.
keep spreading, spreading.
So when you get your background finished, I'm just, I'm not going to rush you. I like to tell people everybody learns differently. So I like to prepare the way ahead. So that way you have an idea of where we're going. Once you get your background painted, we're actually going to be using this as kind of like a place to sketch, if you will, because there's a lot of patterns in the Book of the Dead that are behind the actual scarab dial and whatever, I guess the curse or the warning symbol, the hazard symbol that's on the side. Let me bring this up here. So we can see there's a lot going on. Now it's going to look a little differently today because this was the test run. So again, you can kind of see some of the traces of the purple and or maroon that's in the back. But we're not going to overly complicate that. A lot of different patterns, but it's okay. We're going to walk through. So the really cool part about painting a background that is just one color is that if you mess up, you can just paint over it. So
Especially with black, because black covers everything.
Covers a multitude of everything. So actually, I have made the serious mistake of not bringing my own towel. So
I'm not the only one.
Entertain the crowd while I'm gone.
Okay. Oh, you guys want to see my beautiful masterpiece? Ooh, it's so beautiful. I loved all the movies, even the Tom Cruise version. Brett banned, blocked, and reported. I'm just kidding. This isn't my channel. But no, that movie was I don't know. I mean, it was okay. It was fine. I think people were expecting, I don't know what we were expecting. I don't know. Sometimes Tom Cruise just says yes to things, I think, sometimes, and is like, did you really think this through? Did you really think this through? Dollar Tree, look, $1.25. A cup
Probably
of water
not.
here. These brushes, no, Tom Cruise doesn't always think things through. These brushes, these ones are not my favorite. The little other set I got are better. These ones are.
Those are the ones that typically they give to the kindergartners.
Well,
Yeah.
that's, and that's why I bought them, because your girl is childlike.
Hey, and that's perfectly fine. Hey, the only reason I left Tuggs unsupervised is because she's professional.
Well, I've got paint all over my hand already, so does that count? I'm gonna get more towels. Okay, cool.
So do I. No, it's normal. I always tell my students, if you're not getting a little paint everywhere, you're doing it wrong, and it's not nearly as much fun. It means it's a sign that you're having fun. It's a sign that you've just given in to the carefree whimsy that is the paint. Amanda says it's beautiful. What, our black backgrounds? Thank you.
Yeah, I held up my thing. I was like,
hey, Tommy. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Tugg says Tabitha told you about when Tugg says Tabitha told you about when we met up and I did a stick figure. We'll get into it. Before we do all of that kind of stuff, I'm gonna bring this back up in here. And while our paint is wet, we're going to put that big brush in the water and we're going to switch over to a smaller brush. This is my 1/2-inch flat brush. This is where the cool part kind of comes in, that we can sketch our design without having to worry about ruining it, because we could always color back over it as needed. You feel me? You get me? You vibe?
I get you.
You dig it?
I'm vibing. I'm digging it.
Now,
Maybe
there's
kinda
really no wrong way to do this, because of the fact that, it's going to, again, the main showpiece is going to be the scarab, of course, but to try to get it as close as possible to the film, what we're going to do is take this brush, right? And I'm going to start simple, really simple. We're going to do like a 1/4 of a circle here. I'm going to start in the middle and I'm just going to go like this. Can you see this little bit of a trail here?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
cool.
mine going to do that? I don't know.
Yours should still be dry. You can see it's not a perfect, like it's already starting to dry in some places, but I just want this. This is basically like a little sketch of what we're doing.
Well, it's not as prominent as yours, but I
No,
can
and
see it.
that's totally fine. This is just to
Okay.
give us an idea of where everything is going to be at. Stunning and Brave Megatron, we are painting the Book of the Dead. All right, so now we've got that. What we're going to do, I'm trying to follow here as well. I'm going to go inside the little circle and make another one, but just smaller. I'm going to try to, I put mine in water just because I want you to see. I don't recommend that you do that, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So there we go.
Okay.
Do, do,
See it.
do.
Okay.
Okay, good. And then we're just going to go from inside this ring here and do a little bit of a curve here. Let me go back this way so you can see it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Okay, we're just going to do this corner. And then from the bottom here, we're just going to do a little line like this. Let me go back over it like that.
Okay. There's a vision here.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. The great part is, which I don't think you'll need to do, because even if you can't fit all the symbols or whatever they are in here, the point is that it just looks, all fancy.
Are we going over this with a different color by chance? Or
No.
because like I can see it. No. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Then
you're meant to see these little things. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mine are not that prominent. I think my paint's too dry.
Well, then you can take your paintbrush
Mhm.
and just get just the tip of it wet, just the tip. Like I'm serious, like just a wee bit, and then pat it on your towel to get rid of any excess water, and then try to do it this next round. So here, let me do it here. We're going to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to start with a little circle that's going to cross over to the other side, just like this. Does that work?
No.
Okay.
What am I doing wrong?
Try going back and forth over it one more time. Like go down and then go back up and see if that helps. It's not anything that you've done wrong. It's pretty much meaning that the paint has dried rather quickly, a little faster than we anticipated, which totally makes sense because even though
Getting
acrylic paint.
a little better.
Good. Okay. It is
Better.
totally fine. This is basically, we are roughly, essentially sketching out our designs. We're going to make them darker.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to make it darker. That's why we only did one layer of the black in the background. So that way it's, if you will, paler black, if that's a thing. Excuse me. And then we do this. So before the paint gets too much, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, slightly different design. It's just like the different places. So I'm going to put 2 lines here so you can see it. And I'll get to the chat in just a second. I know several of you have said good morning. But thank you, Dan Pro 11 and 11 for the follow over there on Kick. By the way, I have Tuggs's link in the description box down below for her Kick channel. So if you want to watch her, I don't know, scream and play horrific games, that's the place.
I play a little. Yeah, I play a little everything, kind of, sort of.
Really?
I got, Okay. All right. We're making progress here.
Okay, so that gives us this general idea of what it is we're going to do. This is the really fun part here. I say really fun part, but I think it's fun because it's such a cool idea. So again, we could always repaint our background if we wanted to, but we're going to draw a nice, we're going to paint a nice circle with water, essentially. Like I'm going to pat it, put it in my water, dab it out on my towel, and just kind of do a nice circle like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Just do something circular and then we could always readjust. Surprisingly, this turned out really well. For me.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez.
And I did that at a really weird angle too. Yeah. This is just our guideline to where we're putting stuff.
Okay.
Because that just lets me know, oh, okay, this is where I'm going to put the gold.
Just making sure I don't have a lot of excess. Okay, here we go. And it's roughly here.
Tara Crystal over on Kick says, Tabitha, I got the glow in the dark sand for you. Excellent. It's going to be for a art challenge. Art challenge coming up. It might be there tomorrow. I gave Tuggs a donation so she can get Farmer Shop Simulator. It will give her a break from scary games.
Oh, thank you, Tara. All right. I needed to go a little bigger. I'm doing an 8x10 canvas, so I forget that
Yeah.
like my lines and stuff don't need to be as big as yours.
Yeah. And you can always readjust. Absolutely. Because
Okay.
again, the main focal piece is going to be this dial here. So,
Yeah.
all right. You got your circle?
Yeah.
All right. So then that means that if we come up to the top, you get this round in here, we're going to do just similar shapes, right? Of course, I'm going to show you because of these from the movie prop, naturally. But
Okay.
okay,
All
got
right.
that one. And then we're going to do a nice one down here. It's all coming together. Smoota DJ over on Kick says, good
Hi,
morning,
Smoo.
Tabitha and Tuggs.
Hello, Moo.
Shamoo.
Okay, I'm gonna go
And then over here on Kick, John Thomas says, good morning, Tuggs.
Morning.
Chris the Geek says, good morning.
Good
See, we get you
morning.
guys up there. Lady Marine says, good morning.
Hi, lady.
I hope you all are doing well. Whose mummy are we painting? We're doing the Book of the Dead from the 1999 film, The Best.
The only mummy that matters.
I did. Well, let me see. We got this. Let me get our lines here finished, and then I will give you some of my thoughts, chat, on certain things, as I tend to do. There we go. Got this one.
Yeah. I was just looking at my stencil. Not
Sure.
real big. You know what? That's okay. I have an idea. So we're gonna wing it. It's fine.
Of course. Of course. It's all about the wing. Yeah, right now we're just putting the patterns, like I want to say impressions because I keep thinking the book is made out of leather, but it's not. The carvings. We're putting the carvings right now into the
The
zippy.
carvings, and I'm sure somebody at some point probably threw it and was like, F this.
And I'm going to do a line from this corner over to the circle right here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And when you kind of pull back and you look at what we've done already, it's already looking super cool. Because if you understand what it is that we're painting and what we're going for, you're like, this is really cool. I like these patterns.
Yeah.
It's going well. Dale Cruz says, good morning. Good morning.
My water is very black. I don't know
Of course
if that's
it
going to
is.
affect my brushes or not.
It might when we go into the metallics, but we'll see.
Might have to do a water change.
Yeah. So we've got that line. So then over here, we're going to do just about 4 more. And we're just going to do another like half-ish circle, or excuse me, quarter circle going over here with a little line, like a little straw right there.
Okay.
Here we go. And then 2 more lines at an angle up in here. Just like so. For $1.99, Deranged Lunatic says, Tuggs, the next game should be Alien Isolation.
I do have that one. I do. It was on sale for like $13 hairs, and it's like the whole kit and caboodle with all the expansions, and God help me.
The kit and caboodle. Do you know what made me so excited? The other week, actually, it was like maybe, I said the other week, it was sometime maybe in November. Gosh. Was at Walmart. Super excited. Walking with a friend, and we're in the personal care section where it's, soap and razors and cosmetics. I look at the bottom shelf and literally squealed. It's a caboodle. They had an actual pink and purple caboodle, like, one color on top, one color on the bottom, just like it was back in the day, with the little round knobby thing that you had to click into place, had the handle on top.
Yeah.
They had the kit and caboodle.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was halfway tempted to get one. I remember having one, and that's where I put all my hair ties, my butterfly clips and everything.
Yes.
And I was like, it's a caboodle. It's caboodle.
All
Oh
all
my
the
god.
Gen Zers around you are like, what is this girl's problem?
You're like, it's a box. No, it's not a box. Okay, you put respect on that. It's a caboodle. Okay.
It's a caboodle. You put your whole kit in it.
It's all right. One last thing that we're going to do, just like with our circle over here, we're gonna put the little. I'm not exactly sure what it is per se, but we're gonna do kind of like this rounded rectangle, a rounded corner rectangle. So all I'm gonna do is just take my brush. I'm holding it upright like so, and it's about the size of the circle. Excuse me, as far as like height. And I'm just gonna go. It doesn't have to be perfect because again, we're gonna cover this up. But I'm gonna put little wingies on it down here at the bottom.
Oh, like a latch. It's like, is it the latch?
No, this isn't the
Oh no,
latch.
it's
It's basically the
the
inscription, I
monolith.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So this gives us an idea where everything needs to go. I don't speak womanese. Look, it's not womanese. If you guys, I had to look up a caboodle. Thanks a lot. What is a caboodle? You guys suck. No, you guys don't.
Why are we
Okay,
so old?
hang on.
It's fine.
It's fine. Of course, I guess guys didn't use caboodles. Okay, hang on.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Hang on. Let me. I gotta show you a caboodle. Let me bring it up. And they always were two-toned. You know, it was like that fuchsia with the purple.
Yeah, and there were never any colors that made sense.
Yeah. Let's see. This one kind of looks new age, but let me see. Where's a proper 80s or 90s caboodle? Oh my gosh.
Hi,
Oh,
buddy.
and then we're just kind of like, we look at this. There it is. There it is. I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. Where are you at? I need the caboodle. Oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Right here, guys. The top one right there. Caboodle.
Yep.
Right
It
there.
was basically a pass. Like I know the guys know what it is because all the girls probably, and maybe even a couple of the guys had one of these in school at some point. And you put pencils in it, snacks,
Yeah.
like all kinds of stuff.
Okay, I
So-
love how exactly what John Z says. It's a woman's tackle box.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Have you
It's a woman's
Have you
tackle-
seen the girls? Have you seen the girls on the internet get actual tackle boxes and then like they decorate them for their kids or whatever with each names and they put snacks in them and they call them snackle boxes?
That's so cute. No, I have not heard of that, but that totally works. Snackle.
I know it's got a
boxes.
handle. It latches.
Yeah, that's
it's
so
great.
cute. Bring back the
Yeah.
snackle box. I like that snackle
a
box.
snackle
Retro Collective says, "Hey everyone, hey Tuggs over there on Kick, welcome in." sir." By the way, Retro Collective, I purchased a drink for Biggles. Actually, I gave him enough money for two. So, or depending on what he drinks, unless it was soda, then he gets the whole thing. So I did. I keep my word. Smooth says it takes a dude. That's a toolbox. Yeah, it depends on the type of tool, Staccato. It depends on but I think this describes it accurately. It's a woman's tackle box.
Yeah.
Did you get Biggles' lunch money? No, but I did kick him, Mandos. I put it on Twitter. I posted it for the world to see. I did. I upheld my word. I kicked him. So, yeah, there you go. All right. So while we're letting this dry, I would like to say, because normally when we have these folks on, we kind of find out a little bit more about them. So we're kind of letting this dry because then we have to make a little decision for ourselves. But let's give ourselves our hand a little bit of a break here. Who are you, Tuggs? No, what is it that you primarily do on the internet?
No.
Tell us about yourself. Where did it all start? Is it your mom?
I usually we don't have enough time nor therapy money for that conversation. No, so on October 22nd, 1987, I was born. No, I got
on a
into
dreary
this space
Tuesday.
on a dreary Tuesday.
When the moon
a
was
week
full and the
before
zombies were
Halloween.
howling, which would explain so much.
Mhm. Week before Halloween. Originally going to be a Halloween baby, and I came early, which I'm mad at myself for, so it's fine.
Yeah, do better. Okay.
I know. How dare Star Wars is mostly my love. For those of you who don't know, my dad actually liked not to my extent, but he would talk about Star Wars as we were kids because he's old and he was there when they came out in theaters.
Yeah, nice. Legendary.
Yeah. So he got to see them in theaters, and so we, talking about movies as I got older, I love the way I love movies and whatnot. And so he introduced us to Star Wars when they came out in theaters for the 20th anniversary in 1997. And we went and I fell in love. So my obsession, like over obsession with Star Wars, he always complains about it. And I'm like, I am what you made me. This is your fault.
Oh, so it's your father. Okay.
Yeah, it's my father's fault. So, and then I got into this space with the community in 2019. Yeah, 2019, right before The Rise of Skywalker came out. And I found a Reddit thread that had a guy that I think worked on the film, or no, he worked in a movie theater. And so he was like, it's revealing spoilers and like screenshotting stuff as they're running tests. Movie theater run tests, make sure it works.
Yeah.
And so I took all of those photos and put them on the internet. I put them on Twitter because I was like, I don't give a freaking hoot. F Disney Bola. So I was posting all that. Anna, that Star Wars girl, made a video with my pictures and was like, where are you finding all this stuff? Like, Reddit, girl. I don't know.
The internet, the dark, seedy underbelly of the internet known as Reddit.
I got asked to be a part of Geeks and Gamers. I helped Jay start Park Hoppin'. And that was 5 years ago somehow.
Gosh, 5 years ago.
Crazy.
Why does it seem like 2020 or 2018 seems like it was 10 years ago, but it really was just 5? At least that's how it is for me.
I know, but somehow 2020, like I think of 2019, 2020, and it's just like last year, the year before. But I think it's because we all lost so much time because everything was shut down. I don't know.
It's crazy to be alive. Crazy time to be alive. I mean, with everything that's happening between the Gulf of America and things, who knows? Greenland people, they might become our countrymen. We don't know. It's exciting times to be alive.
Honestly, at this point, I just want my taxpayers' money back that Elon's finding.
Yeah, that would be a really nice, hand.
A tax-free check would be great. Thank you.
Oh, that would be good. We'll get to know more about Tuggs in just a second, everybody. Unless you guys have heard enough and you're like, I can't do it. No, I'm just kidding. But
I can't take it anymore. Tuggs is a hot mess.
In my original painting, because mine is pretty much dry. Now, one of the ways that you know if it's dry or not is obviously if you touch it and you come away clean, it's dry. But we don't want to necessarily do that with acrylic paint. If we would go by, is it shiny? So you can see mine's like a matte finish. There's no shine to it. So it means it's not wet. It's not moist. Oh, there you go. Hold it up for the crowd.
We've got lines. They're not prominent. Also, I'm going to have to adjust. I'm going to end up with, hers is going to look like the Book of the Dead. Mine is going to be a Book of the Dead tribute adjacent because my stencil I have.
The wish.
I didn't think to adjust the size of my stencil.
Oh, that is no problem. So
I have a plan, and the plan is to put this in the corner here as like a tribute, and then put the monolith maybe over here. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Actually, that's totally fine. That's actually really, really cool.
Mine has now become a tribute to the Book of the Dead,
which is totally fine. It's known as fan art. With -1 says Tuggs. iCannel for $5. Have either of you seen any of the classic Universal 30s or 50s or Hammer Mummy films? If so, what are your thoughts? We will let you know our thoughts as soon as we acknowledge the fact that iCannel is now one of the top 5 people. And
today is Friday. Today is Friday.
He has single-handedly turned this Saturday into Friday so that we can have another.
That's awesome. Top five of what?
The top 5 of the chat.
Oh,
that's right. He's now top. Exactly. You can't see it here, but we have emotes for the top 5, top 10 people. He is now one of the top. Of course, everybody's special in the chat, but iCannel is now one of the top 5. So one thing that we can do before we answer iCannel's thought, because of a question, of course, I did my research. We can, in my original painting, I left the lines very prominent because, it's part of the book and but it's actually reversed, right? If you would look at the actual book, the actual Book of the Dead,
the real book,
the real book that we're all too, afraid to read here. You would look at it and it's actually, because again, I was actually looking at it, again, as like a different texture, it's reversed. So the lines are meant to be darker. I'm not upset with how mine has turned out. But I'm going to leave it. This is where I love to allow for creative liberty for my guests. And anytime I have a student, you could easily leave it this way and it's still recognizable and it's still really, really nice. But you were saying that yours are not very prominent. We might, everybody's painting is going to be a little bit different. And mine, as you can see, it's not very thick. So we might want to do a test run. What I think I'm going to try to do is get my black paint, get my little brush here again, and then get my black paint and see if it shows up better if I do it much darker. By the way, thank you over there for taking care, Tara Crystal, for taking care of that douchebag over there on the internet. Thank you. We appreciate
it. Darn it. I love a good shenanigan. You know what they say, though? You know what they say? If you let them shenan once, they will shenan again.
I love that. This guy was definitely shenanigans. So let me see how good this looks if I make it
I'm gonna
darker.
let you do this experiment.
Yeah, this is going to be an experiment here for me. It is definitely, because it's going to be a second coat, it's going to be darker, obviously. The opacity is much, lower.
That's a big word
Higher.
for Elmo. Opacity.
Opacity. I get them confused which way. So that is up to you. If you would like to test maybe one of your corners and see if that makes a difference on yours. If not, we can do the reverse because it still looks nice and we can lighten it a bit. To answer iCAANalyst's question, have either of you seen any of the classic Universal 30s through 50s or Hammer mummy films? If so, thoughts. So last night, I did my research and I have never actually seen any of the original Universal monster films. And so with the coming of Dark Universe and everything like that, I was like, I would love to be a part of this world. I would like to know. I enjoy classic movies. I love me a good black and white film. And so last night, after much searching, I found the Mummy film, 1932, I believe it was, with Boris Karloff. There we go. Dyslexia.
Boris Borloff.
I literally, it's a real problem that I have. Carlos Borloff. Carlos Borloff. What do you?
Yeah, you know that guy.
That guy, that really tall, weird looking guy. So I actually watched it last night, and I will give you my honest opinion. Don't come for me in the chat, but I mean, you can if you want to. It's your loss. But I found the beginning of the film really good, and then it just kind of fell flat for me. The way that spoilers. I mean, the movie's been out for 60 years, or more. No, it's more than that. What am I thinking?
Yeah,
because we're in the middle 2000s here.
It might be close to 100 at this point.
Yeah, I all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, it's not the time frame that I think it is. Oh my laugh is flashing before me. Anyway, I watched it and he just kind of disintegrated. Like the statue lifted its little thing and he just turned into a poof. That was it. And I'm like, really?
That's how I felt about the death of Voldemort in the movies.
Yeah, it's very underwhelming. And so I was also just a little bit, and I know, these movies, they're old. It was just getting started in cinema and everything like that. But I was just a little bit confused about some stuff. Overall, I would watch it again. But I still prefer the Rachel Weisz, Brendan Fraser 1999 Mummy film. Now, I have not seen. I'm actually working my way up to see all the other horror or monster movies things because I've never seen them. I want to be part of the Cool Kids Club. I have not seen Tom Cruise's Mummy. Have you seen that one, Tuggs?
Yeah, it's fine.
It sounds like a woman spurned. It's fine.
It's fine. It's not. I don't know. To me, I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. It was nothing to write home about. It wasn't special, which is why it flopped at the box office. I think a lot of people, including myself, which I don't know why we're delulu this way, but I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm probably not wrong, is that I think a lot of people, for some weird reason in our brains, even though Universal said, it's not Universal's fault, they said this is nothing to do with anything. Brendan Fraser, who? Like, stop talking about it. And for whatever reason, we all still went into the theater expecting one of them to show up somehow for some reason.
Oh, really?
I
No,
don't
I
know.
figured
I
it was
don't
a
know
whole.
why. It was a whole. It's a whole new universe. And Russell Crowe's in it. Spoilers: Russell Crowe's in it, and he plays Van Helsing? No. Yes, I got it. See, it was so memorable, clearly. But Russell Crowe's in it. He pops up kind of towards the end.
Van
And
Helsing?
it sets up, yeah, it sets up them to start this whole new universe. So back when The Mummy and The Mummy Returns and all came out, so you had Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
You had The Mummy, right? So at one point they were going to try and connect them in like this dark universe. That's the dark universe thing comes from.
Oh.
So they tried to do it back then, and it didn't take off for whatever reason, because connected universes weren't popular yet. They were like 10 years too early. Connected
Interesting.
stuff
I
like
didn't.
that wasn't popular yet. So this was going to be their retry, and it just was a swing and a miss. It just didn't land.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I guess,
That's
yeah.
really cool because I had no idea. I guess they were
George
gonna
Jekyll.
strive for like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen kind of thing?
Yeah, well, and then what this is, it was Dr. Jekyll, sorry, not Van Helsing. Russell Crowe's Dr. Jekyll. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
like the twist in the movie. But so the plan was to do the Mummy with the Tom Cruise, and then they were going to do a Dr. Jekyll, and I think they were going to do a Frankenstein, and they were going to restart this whole dark universe thing and tie them all together. Kind of like how, you could watch the Avengers movies separately, but if you watch them all, they all tie in together. That kind of
Yeah.
thing. That kind of whole connected universe situation. They were trying to do that, but they tried to do it with the original Mummies way back in the day, but they were 10 years too early. The public wasn't ready.
But we were not ready.
Weren't ready
We
for
were
that yet.
Deranged Lunatic for 198 says, "I love the classic sci-fi movies from the 1950s." I've seen some of them and they're
Attack of the 50
good.
Foot Woman.
I haven't seen that one. I think this year I'd like to make that a goal of mine to work towards watching a lot of these films. These older films that are good. I know my uncle was introducing me to several of them, and unfortunately, we decided to watch one late at night, and I fell asleep, and I felt really bad because it wasn't a bad movie, but now I don't even remember what the name of it was.
Oh,
Oh my
no.
gosh, it's terrible. Chris the Geek says most of these movies had very sudden endings. And yeah, I think it's because the time frame that we live in. It's like I watch it and I'm thinking, oh, well, what is this? Like it just stops, and
Yeah.
maybe that was the type of cliffhanger that they were doing, back in the day. Because as far as I know, when I did my research, they had several Mummy movies afterwards.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a bunch of them.
so I wonder if that was kind of their way of doing a cliche, or not a cliche, but a cliffhanger. Just to be like,
Maybe.
hey, wouldn't you let's just kill him off, and what'd be cool? We'll bring him back. Rather than,
monsters
like
that never
it was just
end.
kind of weird. He just turned into like this little clump of dust. But I will say, I am always amazed at these old movies on how they made them with what they had. The
Yes.
technology, the passion, the creativity. Forget the technology. The creativity with the limited technology that they had was amazing.
Yep.
I loved it. Even like his makeup, where he's all wrinkly and everything like that. It was just you look at it and,
So
and
good.
I was even thinking, because I don't know much about Carlos Borloff. I don't know much about him. So I was like, is that his real skin? Because it was so well done that I really couldn't tell. And I didn't know
I know.
anything about him. So I was like, well, maybe he is really old. To be fair, he was kind of old in that, because he was born in 1887, I think. And this was 1932. So he kind of old.
Is old.
Bruce says 90 years ago it was fun movie after a horse ride into town. Bruce, he's a nice guy.
That's
The
funny.
Mummy was
It's crazy.
okay.
Yeah. I clearly don't remember any of it because people are like, well, I think this happened. I think this happened. I genuinely, it was fun while you're watching it, and then afterwards you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Which is why I didn't go anywhere. Which is a
Yeah,
bummer because
I
love
love the
universe.
Mummy so much. Why would I like Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is a
Mhm.
phenomenal actor, of course, and everything, but it was just like, okay. The Mummy to me is kind of like Lord of the Rings. It's perfect, don't remake it.
Leave it alone. Leave it
Lady,
alone.
Lady Marine says, yeah, the older films are an acquired taste. I love them all, but I do like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns way more. And we don't even we don't talk about the third one.
You know what's so sad to me is I will go on this rant about the third one for forever. I don't know what the studio is thinking, because if you take out The Mummy 3 isn't bad, but looking at it from this way, what made it bad, in my opinion, was the lack of chemistry between Brendan Fraser and Maria, whatever the heck her name was.
Yeah,
Maria
that
Bella.
other woman that is not Rachel Weisz.
Love her. Maria Bella's great. Okay, love her. There was nothing there.
No.
And it was such a glaringly obvious replacement, obviously, because she's blonde. They look nothing alike. What they could have done instead, and what they should have done instead, was remove Evie from the movie completely. Have it a father-son. Nothing else about the story changes if you do this. Have it a father-son movie. And then at the end, to accommodate Rachel Weisz's schedule, because she was like, I can make it. I just can't be there until this date. To accommodate her schedule, you then have them beat the mummy, and now we're father and son and we're bonded again and we love each other. It's great. It's a heartwarming movie. And they show it back home all bloodied and bruised up, and she's like,
What
there
happened?
waiting.
What
for
did
them,
I
like,
miss?
What did I miss? Right? That, and then he could sweep her up into his arms and be all with the way that they do. It just was, when she couldn't show up for the whole movie, I don't know what idiot.
Yeah.
That man hopefully was fired, but you're an idiot. Do not replace her. Don't do it. Write her out of the movie. You still have the same movie. You still have the same underlying story, which was that they don't get along and they're butting heads. That was there. You still get shirtless Brendan, which we were very appreciative of. You know, you have a different mummy, instead of an Egyptian mummy, you have an Asian mummy. The story was great. It was just that lack of chemistry was so bad that it ruined the whole movie for everybody. And I will die on that hill.
It was, like you said, glaringly obvious is definitely the word to describe that. And
at least put a wig on her. Jeez.
I've seen that movie one time and that's it. I'm like, I don't like this.
Mm-mm.
I don't like this. I think that is one of the only movies that I've seen where they really came off as a genuine couple, because it just, it was perfect chemistry. I don't know that I've ever really seen, like, there's a lot of actors and actresses that have worked well together and they're very convincing, but there is just something about those two. I don't know if it's because of the type of film that The Mummy was, between action, adventure, comedy, if that's the reason why or what the case might be, but it was just like, whatever those two did. And maybe it's because it was an unexpected kind of coupling. I don't know, but it was like,
they work so their chemistry is beautiful.
Especially
it's
from
so
the
beautiful.
first to the second. The first, it's all awkward, but it's kind of fun. And then, it is a little bit ridiculous at the end, because what in her right mind is she going to be riding a camel sideways for like 3 days in the desert? Like, that's stupid. But I get it. That was the romance part. That's the adventure part. But then the second one, it's like you could tell they acted like they did, like they had been married for a while, that they've been through some stuff and they still adore each other. And they have a kid, and being a parent is hard. Like, it's just, that's why I tell people The Mummy is the perfect movie, because it has everything that you need: action, adventure, a little bit of thrill,
everybody's pretty,
romance,
got something for everybody.
Everybody's
Everybody's pretty, whether you like the men's or the women's. Well, not even Arnold Vosloo. That's the running joke, is nobody can pronounce it right. Even the blooper reel.
I know. I saw that. Arnold.
The narrator's like Arnold,
Vosloo,
whatever his name is. He's objectively an attractive man. Oded Fair. We all love Oded Fair.
Yeah,
love that one.
I know he was at one of the conventions,
come guard
and I was
our
like,
Book of the Dead any day.
Love him. I'm trying to go through. I'm sorry, we were talking, and it's like Tommy Doyle says Scorpion King. Hey, I do like The Rock, but hey, it's not the same. It's not the same.
What is crazy is going back. You watch The Scorpion King with The Rock, the actual movie, not The Mummy Returns with him in it. Although that was awful CGI. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, we watch The Scorpion King, and I love The Scorpion King. It's so funny and stupid and cheesy. I just love it. But if you watch his acting in that movie, he really, as annoyed as we all are with The Rock now because he's oversaturated, he really worked hard to be a better actor. And you could see it. Like, I forgot how bad he was. Until I went and watched Scorpion King. I went and watched The Scorpion King, and you watch anything that he's in now, whether you're annoyed by him or not, you're like, wow, this man.
He's come along.
He obviously did the work. So cool. Kudos to The Rock.
Staccato DDS says, why are we limited to sequels and prequels with all the tech we have today? He is asking the real questions because you guys know I don't have 9.99 is a 10. I don't have a 10, so he's just automatic.
I am the one to be your favorite.
Everybody's special, but some people are clearly Jesus's favorites.
I say that about Sydney Sweeney. I was like, oh, what's it like to be God's favorite? Please tell the world.
I hate her. With the love of the Lord. Yeah, it was. You know what's interesting about the Scorpion King and the Mummy films? It was that it was almost like breaking into the new technology. Yes, it was bad. It's kind of like the Super Mario movie back in, was it 93? What was it? That terrible Super Mario movie
yes.
But I actually watched some VFX artists. They have their own channel. I forget what they're called now, but they were going through it and they were like, this was actually groundbreaking technology. They're like, without the Mario movie, the movies that we have today would be behind in technology. So it's like sometimes it takes those crappy movies to push you forward.
Same with not many people have realized this, but without George Lucas, Avatar would never exist. George Lucas is the one that used that motion capture and first. He was the one that made that and made it work, which is so funny to me because that's what they did for Mummy Returns, and they came out like 2 years apart, 3 years apart from Phantom Menace, which also came out in 1999, and then like Mummy was 2001. Mummy Returns, I think, was 2001, 2002. So it's like, why is the CGI that bad? Did you see Jar Jar Binks? He looks amazing. Like, I'm so confused.
I love Jar Jar. Okay, I just Smooth. That's so funny. Our favorite Weasel Face and Sydney Sweeney would work well together. They would. Weasel Face. If you know, you know. You're gonna hang around our streams when I stream with Nomi. Corridor Crew. Thank you, Smooth. Yeah, it was Corridor Crew. Let me go down here. Yeah, they're great. Corridor Crew. I love watching their stuff. So, all right, getting back to our painting, it should hopefully be dry by now. How did it turn out for you with putting extra black on top?
The dark didn't work out because mine was already so dark to begin with, so I kind of lightened some lines at the bottom. I'm kind of hesitant because I have to adjust. All right, I talk like I'm a professional now. I have to adjust my whole scenario here, so I have the outlines of everything in my head of where it's going to go, but when I get this stencil on, I think I'm going to have to redo a bunch of lines because it's just so it's just
and like I said, if I put these up for comparison, you can still tell which one what it is. So whether you have lighter lines or darker lines, I like to give, like I said, I like to give people the option so that because it's a personal preference. I mean, we're not making it an exact replica of the Book of the Dead because we don't have any hinges and stuff like that because they would be over here and that's just not part of our canvas. So we're just doing the front cover, you know.
Yeah, I think I may experiment a little maybe with mixing like my silver and black together, and maybe that'll make the lines pop a little. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out.
Well, let's get all of the important things on here and then we can always adjust afterwards, because a lot of times when you put the iconic pieces on here and it all comes together, you don't really have to change as much as you think. So that being said, because it's going to take a little while to dry. Oh, you're right-handed. So let's I'm assuming you're right-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sucks to be you. Actually,
I'm not of the left side variety.
So I'm going to be taking my 1/2-inch flat brush, the one that I did the lines with, and I'll do this to accommodate you because that's what left-handed people do. My people are the oppressed people. We are left-handed living in a right-handed
I don't know. We used to burn you guys at the stake for being witches. So
this is what I'm saying. Just get accused of witchcraft because I'm using my left hand. So I'm going to be shaking up my silver here.
Okay.
She uses the wrong side. There is no wrong side, Lady Marine. Correct yourself.
Isn't that an artist thing, though? Artists in general are just all backwards.
No, a lot of artists are right-handed.
Really?
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Because it's like, what, only 11% of the world is left-handed.
Oh. So. You guys should start a movement. # left-handed lives matter.
I thought about like jokingly, but seriously attempting that a couple of years ago. And I thought, this ain't worth my time. But I was like, wanting to try to prove a point where it's like, okay, we're not necessarily oppressed, but you have to admit that we have to rearrange our lives according to a right-handed world when you open the doors. even um a lot of times even the mugs and stuff like that. Now, this one, fortunately, it depends on the person. Like, I kind of like it when the design is looking towards people, but most people want to be able to see the designs for most cups, like mugs and
Well,
stuff like
that's
that.
so Hydro Jug. If you like this style of cup, I'm a big screw Stanley. Hydro Jug is great. So Hydro Jug has the straw that folds, so it's spill proof. And I have
Oh,
confirmed that this is spill proof. I have animals. They've knocked this over I don't know how many times. But if you, depending on where, like I have it on left hand right now because it's over here, so I can pick up the left hand.
yeah.
But you can change it. So you point the straw a certain way, and there's instructions or sticker. I left it on because I always forget. And so it's left and right handed. It's both.
Which
So
is
you can
nice.
turn the straw. Yeah. So if you want to pick it up and drink with your left hand, or if you're right handed, you want to do it the other way, it's great. Because yeah, there's nothing more awkward when you, even me as prominently right handed, even like over here, if I had this straw on the right, I would have to be like,
Well, and Mountain Mutt makes a great point. It says scissors. Even my hand over here,
oh
I'm
yes,
using I'm using a
left-handed
mouse.
scissors. Yeah.
I can't use scissors with my left hand to save my life. I can't do it. But I'm gonna take my uh, staccato DDS says, even though you're a leftist, we still love you. I'm a creative lefty. But yeah, I know. I was on Valiant Renegade's thing the other night, and he was like, I was gonna make a joke about your like the signage, it says Dreaming Tab, then it says Creative Lefty, and he was like, I'm just gonna leave that alone because he's like, it might get misinterpreted. Like, that's
Yeah.
okay. It's a conversation piece. I didn't even think of it like that, but of course I was on a political channel. But so all we're gonna do is go over to this basically this little blimp over here, and we're just going to lay down the groundwork here. We're just gonna put some nice. And you know what the cool thing about this particular project is that we don't really need it to be too smooth. It can be rough because number one, it's old and it's made out of stone. So naturally it's going to get kind of scratched and whatnot. So I kind of like that where it takes a lot of the pressure off. Yeah, it takes a lot of the pressure off of you to have to try to blend or make it perfectly smooth. Like, it's supposed to be a little rustic. Now, I know people use it as a cheat. I know, like, oh, I didn't turn out the way I thought. It will just make it rustic. It's like, no, rustic is an intentionality, intentional thing. Like, you can't just make a mistake and be like, oh, it's abstract. No, okay. It does actually take, I mean, it's just you're lazy, but like, it does actually take work to make abstract art. You just,
So that's
people,
where that's gonna go.
they just don't understand. But
They
yeah,
don't understand. All right, hold on. I'm like behind right now because I'm trying to picture.
no, I'm just
I get
random
it.
reading. Now, I'm not like a huge abstract painting person, but I do, as an artist, I do understand. Now, some of that stuff is dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Some
You
of that
don't
stuff
like
is
the
just a
banana?
cheat.
You're not
That's
a big
just dumb,
banana?
okay? But no, I don't like the banana. People like me work our entire lives to do hard things and improve, and now it's like, hey, what if we just taped a banana to a wall? But yeah, it takes some work to make abstract art, actual real artwork. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm going to. So we're doing the monolithic thing. So mine is adjustment. So that's gonna go there. I'm overthinking this, is what I'm doing. Okay, it's fine. Around.
Exactly, Mando. That's not art. I do believe that there's a difference between art and like messaging, if you will. You can use art for a message. I understand that. There are some people that are trying to convey a message through artwork. I get that. But you can't. I think the part that drives people crazy is the cost of this artwork. There's a difference between
Yeah.
trying, like, I don't know the story behind the banana taped to the wall. I don't know, because art is meant to make you think, appreciate, have conversations. Good artwork will
Yeah.
do this. Like, why deep artwork will do this. Why did you use these colors? Was there a reason that the brush strokes went this way? Why did you put a banana on the wall? Okay.
Is the Mona Lisa smiling, or is she,
Yeah. These are
plotting her
exactly.
death? I don't know. Nobody knows.
These are things like that's what you're supposed to do when you go to a museum or something like that. You're supposed to look at the artwork and be like, "Oh, what? Why?" And you're supposed to kind of try to get inside the mind of the artist, if you will. Which always leaves you with loose ends, because unless the artist tells you specifically, you'll never know, right? But when you tape a banana to the wall, there can be meaning, but I'm reaching here, but there can be symbolism here. There can be a meaning here, potentially, because artists are quirky thinkers. We think very differently than most people. But if you're charging millions of dollars for said art piece, that, as far as I know, the banana wasn't even like dipped in resin. So it wasn't even preserved. Like, you know, in
Yeah,
3
it went
days.
bad.
Yeah, in 3 days, you got goo on the wall. Okay. That is where artists now are just laughed at. I mean, it's nobody took art seriously as a career anyway. Nobody ever really does.
Mhm.
And so it's like, when you do this kind of crap and then sell it for millions of dollars, it makes other artists look, well, it just makes artists in general look stupid, and we don't get taken seriously. So then you get people that produce really well thought out, understandable, well conceptualized art pieces, and nobody cares because it's like, well, all you could do is just paint a canvas black and be like, oh, a bat in a cave, and sell it for millions of dollars.
Yep.
That's not fair. That is not
Yep.
fair. And so if they were either not charging because they were trying to prove a point, that, it was more of an exhibit for a cause, I'm okay with that. You can do your weird art if you're trying to, like, I heard years ago. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this, but again, artists are supposed to be rebellious. They're supposed to push boundaries and things like that, right?
Mhm.
There was, quote unquote, an artist, and I don't know the whole story, but he he took a jar. He put a picture, quote unquote, because nobody really knows what Jesus looks like. He put a picture of Jesus in a jar, and then he urinated in the jar. Now, some people could look at that as very disrespectful, an egregious atrocity, and especially he put it in a gallery or whatever like that and presented it as artwork. Now, I don't think that's art, but it could be used as symbolism. That's again, you could think it's stupid. Like, overall, it's stupid, but it definitely sends a message. I'm not sure what his message was, but here I am talking about it years later. You could
Yeah.
use it as a symbol to say, this is how the American church treats Jesus. I
That's
mean,
actually fair. Yeah.
that's pretty deep. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you could use art in an extreme way too, but if you're trying to sell that, okay, you've lost me.
Yeah.
You've lost me. Now, I don't recommend you do things like this. I do think it's disgusting. It's definitely not clean. You could say, I see people saying, yeah, it's mocking Christ. You could definitely say it's mocking Christ, or is it sending a message of, this is the American church, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a
Or
pretty
the
powerful,
American people, like a lot of I
or
mean,
the
Jesus
American. Mhm.
has fallen pretty hard here
And so
with people.
that
So
definitely sends a very powerful message if that is the thing. But I'm not going to buy that for not
yeah.
even $10. I'm not going to spend millions of dollars. So that is where I think the art community has become such a laughing stock, because you didn't really have art necessarily, quote unquote, I use that word so loosely, art like that, when Van Gogh's painting his paintings. Like, people were actually spending years of their life, dedicating their life to
Yeah.
internships, practicing, studying light, like Da Vinci would just go and sit places with a little sketchbook and try to
Yep.
study people and draw their legs and their backs to try to understand anatomy, because they didn't have stuff like that, the access to the internet, everything like that, and
Yep.
pictures like what we have. They didn't have
That's why
pictures,
the
guys.
art classes were people like standing posing for hours. You had those art class. I think they still do them in Italy, where you can
Yeah,
pay and you go take an art class and you have a live model, usually nude, and they're posed like a certain way.
so you can
And they have to
understand how the
hold
light.
that. You have to
Yeah,
hold that for however, yeah. And the reason
yeah.
they do it nude, people go, oh, nude. But the reason they did it nude is because you can see the way the muscles are contorted, the way the body bends, the way the
Right.
skin. That's why they did it nude. But
Yeah, yeah. It's not
also,
meant to
yay,
be
boobs.
it's not meant to be a free peep show. It's more supposed to be
Yeah, it's,
educational. I myself am like, well, we could put some pasties on there. But
yeah,
but
yeah.
like, yeah, that was the nitty-gritty of it. And so it's like, that's why art has just become such, well, it's always been something that nobody really took too seriously, but definitely I would say in like, you did it in like 100 years or so. It's just become a
We got it.
laughing stock. Now we're painting taping bananas to. So that's what I'm saying. If you're using it to further a movement and you're trying to get it to be a talking point to engage people's brain,
Mhm.
okay. I still think there should be boundaries, but art is meant to convey things. It's supposed to push boundaries. So there's that. It's not just supposed to be a pretty picture in your home. It's actually meant to be much deeper. But we tend to just be like, "Oh, art, it's fun."
Abstract. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Or like the people that do the call. I'm trying to think of like the super weird one. Like your guy with the Jesus in the bottle of pee. Wasn't there a woman a few years ago that just sat in a box
yeah.
for like days and didn't shower, and I don't know what I don't remember what she was
Have you
supposedly
seen the
having
one
art
where they
about, but
they vacuumed or whatever people inside, but they had to put an oxygen tube in there, but they were literally 4 or 5 feet off the ground in these weird poses encased in plastic
no, that would
with the
be
oxygen tube,
terrifying.
and like that was their art piece. And it's like, okay,
Oh no.
what is this supposed to mean? And that looks very uncomfortable.
Absolutely not.
um yeah, it shows that actual art isn't appreciated anymore. And that the thing about art, and that will always be until Jesus comes, is that it's subjective. What looks good to one person will not look good to another. But we definitely yeah, Mountain Mud says if I pee on my tax return before I send it in, that's a protest, not art. Yes, that's true. It also depends on your intention. Yeah, for sure. Andy Warhol, his stuff's pretty good. Not my cup of tea. Not that it's bad. That's the other thing too. When you tell people it's not your cup of tea, you're not, or I don't really like it, it's not my aesthetic. A lot of times people will take that as you think it's bad artwork. That's not the
Yeah.
case. You can dislike something and still think that it's good artwork. It's not
Yeah.
for you. He pushed art, but not as far as it goes today. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I think when you take art and mix it with degeneracy, that's not art anymore. It's just self
It's
gratification to
shock
a degree.
value, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's shark value.
we've gotten so just as a culture, we've gotten way too comfortable with shock value just in
Well,
general.
and the sad thing is that's what we have to bank on because people don't think anymore.
Mhm.
We just want to be told, and that's dangerous. And that was again what was so beautiful about art in the day was that it kind of made you reflect. It made you feel things.
Yes.
It made you think versus, okay, here's a nude woman, a graphically nude woman.
Yeah.
Okay, but versus here is a how do I word this? Here is a nude woman, but she is maybe crying in a garden. Okay. And it's maybe an impressionist style. And it's kind of like, but why is
Mhm.
she crying in the garden? What
Right.
what made the artist choose to
It
have
makes you why is she crying? Why
gardenias?
is she not smiling? Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of stuff. There's a big difference, big difference there. Remember when Banksy sold one of his art pieces and had a shredder built into the frame that would destroy the piece once it's sold? See, that is kind of cool for the shock value, for the science and the shock value, but it's like there was one.
The poor person that bought that. What the heck?
You remember, I don't know if you know about this. There was an art piece. And I say it's an art piece. This is where it gets different, where it's almost like theater and art combined. That art tends to have many branches, right? So this was
Mhm.
like art theater, if you will, where somebody set up a loaded gun and it was attached to a timer and there was a chair in front of the gun and it was up and basically there was there was a sign there that said something like at your own risk, time gets us all, what are you doing with your life? I don't know how to summarize it, but basically the idea was life is short, are you taking risks, what are you doing with your life? And you were
Okay.
basically being dared to sit in front of this gun, not knowing when nobody knew when the timer was going to go off.
Oh heck no.
And obviously, I don't
That's very
recommend.
Saw. You guys have seen the Saw movies, the horror movies? Yeah.
I've
Uh-huh.
heard of them, but even if it wasn't actually loaded, I've never done any research into it to see if it was actually loaded, but it made people think
It's
like,
the psychological thing,
yeah,
yeah.
what am I doing with my life? Like at any moment, especially if you're a believer, it's like we're not guaranteed tomorrow. What are you doing with your life today? Because you could step outside, get hit by a car, get struck by lightning, develop a serious illness.
Yeah.
You don't know what tomorrow holds. What are you doing with your life? So while I don't approve of putting a loaded gun out there and seeing if people might die, the message, the powerful message behind that gets you thinking. Modern art appreciation is all about the emperor's new clothes, only enlightened. Yes, you're right, John Thomas. And I feel like I missed something. Did I miss something? Yeah, John Thomas. I'm so sorry. Number 10 of the top 10 people in the chat saying Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy is the far superior mummy movie. Fight me. Fat Electrician did a video about how the CIA funded modern art. They probably paid for the banana. It is always possible. I have not seen. I do enjoy a good Abbott and Costello film. I have not. See, I told you guys I'm a little bit behind on. Well, I'm very much behind on these older movies, and I will have to look that up. I wonder if I could find it. Maybe it's on YouTube. I'll have to look
I
for
love
that.
the way that they're made. Like the famous scene in Psycho, the blood coming down the drain. Yeah, that was ketchup. It's just cool.
But because it's black and white, it had to be so much darker,
Yes, it looked great. Oh, I love
That
it.
movie was good because I didn't know what to expect, and it was great.
Psycho, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's fun is the Universal Studios Hollywood, their backlot studio tour. I will die on the hill of it being superior, because they still film movies over on that set. So years and years ago, the first time I ever went to Universal Studios Hollywood, we're on the backlot tour, and there's a scene or part of the tour where you actually go by the Psycho house. And this actor comes out and he's like waving a knife, and it's supposed to be scary. Oh no, whatever. Well, we stopped in front of that house. On my tour, we stopped in front of that house and nobody could figure out why. And you could tell like the driver was kind of stalling. Couldn't figure out why. And all of a sudden, this madman comes flying at full sprint speed out of the house, down the hill, like whatever. And he comes up to the tram and he ducks and he hides, whatever. It was Jim Carrey. He was on set. He was filming Grinch in the studio next door or whatever. And Jim came. He was like, I'm going to go mess with these people. Watch this.
That's amazing. You never know what a day might bring. Fortunately, that's a kind of a twisted, happy thought, but
Yeah,
oh my gosh, because he's got quite the face and he's so weirdly limber that he's kind of freaky. He should be Slender Man.
He should. It was so fun. I mean, he gave us all a freaking heart attack, but it was hilarious. So yeah, it was cool. And then off he went.
The Fantastic says, how much art do you suppose is just artists with a good backstory and a random piece of work? Actually, a lot of artists, because most of the time our best artwork is unintentional.
Like this thing, whatever this is turning into here.
I think it's going to be great. I don't know if you're ready for it.
All right, now before we're not there yet, but I need to cut the rest of this out. So I need to cut this out like a whole, correct?
Yes. What I recommend is before you proceed to cut that out, we're going to use our time wisely, if you will, because dry time for gold paint seems to take a while. Let's paint the dial first. The circle first, and then we can work on the cutting that out.
Ooh.
So it's pretty much the same thing.
I'm gonna need the circle.
Oh, well, I need the circle.
I know you do.
Oh shoot,
Yeah.
I used too much paint. I forgot.
Uh-oh.
There we go. It's okay. We'll scoop it back in.
I might end up adding that later, maybe. I don't know.
The thing is, guys, is that there's a lot of creative people. Some of us don't know how to be creative. And that sounds really silly, but we don't know how to be like creative to a point that pursues our passion. So I've been down that road many times down through the years where it's because especially if you want to use art as a means of a career, it is one of the hardest career fields to get into, even though it doesn't require the same, I don't want to say it doesn't require the same education. You could potentially save money on education. You still need a whole bunch of education when it comes to artwork, but you are able to learn to be artistic without going to college or needing school. They benefit you. They can help you to a degree. But the thing about art is that's so different from being a lawyer, being a police officer, things like that, is that you have to learn how to make things that you enjoy making that other people want. And so there are different levels where there are some people that create art pieces that nobody wants, but they're beautiful. And
That would
And
be
that
so sad.
it is. And that's why, artists are some of the most self-deprecating people on the planet. A lot of artists are moody and depressive because their passion is to create. But and every time they create a piece, it's like a part of their soul gets put into there. And I've talked to professional artists about that. I'm like, how do you find the balance in making something that you enjoy, but it's not really something you want to make, but it sells because you're trying to make money? And they said that you have your passion projects. Invest your time in passion project, but if you're trying to make money, it's really hard, but you have to try to separate yourself from the art piece. And because artists typically rely on heart and soul when they're creating, and that's why it hurts so much when somebody says, I don't like that, or I don't want to buy that, because it's like a Horcrux. You put a part of yourself into it. But the
Yeah.
thing is, your clients, unless they're art aficionados, which most of the time they will not be, they don't give one crap about how much time you spent on it, how much your art supplies cost, how much you cut your fingers trying to assemble it, or the sweat that you had, how much your feet hurt from the time that you stood doing it. Nobody cares. And that
Yeah.
hurts because you're like, yeah, but I did
I
this.
did all these things.
Nobody cares. So you
Nobody
have
cares.
to mature and get past that. And you have to accept, not regret. Well, you do have to accept that. You have to accept rejection as a normal part of your process.
Jeez.
And you have to live your life knowing that most people, even the people that care a lot about you, will never truly appreciate what you do or what you go through to create. And so that's why it's one of the hardest professions, because people don't look, and we just discussed that, people don't look at it seriously. They don't take
Yeah.
it seriously. People have no idea how much art really impacts your life on a day-to-day basis, how much it affects your attitude, your mood, things like that. Most people have no idea. How much we use it on a regular basis. It's one of those things that we take for granted. And again, because artists think differently than most people, and you can't convince people to see things the way you see. You can try to talk to them if they're open-minded about it, but it's just one of those things. And this isn't like a sob story. These are just facts. Artists are a weird kind of group of people. You got your weird artists, your weird artists, your crazy artists, and then your casual artists.
Yeah.
But you could not love medical stuff and become a doctor. It's just one of those things. So you could hate the police force and still be a policeman. It's really, and that's the thing too. I tell people, it's like you could create artwork, doesn't make you an artist. An artist is who you are in your soul. You can't live and breathe without making artwork. I tell people all the time, it's like I could build a birdhouse, doesn't make me a woodworker. It's not my interest, it's not my passion. I could do it. Doesn't mean I want to.
Do it, but I don't have to.
Oh, Tabitha is walking art. Some days I wear colorful socks. Rizky for the biscuit. Hello. And the Latino
summoned
slant
me?
Polly says we
Hi,
need to
Latino
stream
slant.
and talk about art in its many forms and continue. I would love that. You're supposed to be on the channel a while ago. We need to paint together. I'll message you, sir. I'll message you.
You can even YOLO your painting like I'm doing right now.
That's right. My art best seems to be applied to memes. Isn't that right, Princess Butter Tuggs? Ew, that sounds
This is butter
weird.
tug.
Art is expensive. Yeah, most artists undersell themselves, and then you got the quirky, weird ones that for some reason sell bananas for $1 million. And you got. I mean, I'm making Dan
not
Vance
bitter, guys.
Renaissance painting, and nobody's offered to spend millions of dollars on that. It's Dan Vance, guys. Handsome exotic metal singer on YouTube. Come throw money at me. Where is my? If I tape a banana to Dan's painting, will somebody buy it?
Oh my god. That sounds so weird. Can we tape a banana to Dan's painting?
All right. I wasn't going that right. I was just talking about a banana. I'll put it in his hand. Instead of the sword, I'll put the banana.
Oh my gosh, you have to put it in his hand, like George of the Jungle.
Yeah. Too bad the sword's already there. I ain't going back.
All right, I'm trying to figure out.
This is wonderful. Right. Keep going, Chris. Amen to that. Thanks. Yeah. I'm just weird. I know, my bad. I know. We're all busy. Beardo would buy it. Hey,
Okay,
Melissa.
you cut this out.
Oh, while we're finishing, I've got my dial up there. By the way, for those, some of you have been saying that you're getting better at your shading and stuff like that, and some of you told me that you
Yay!
appreciate my tutorials. Just to let you know, there will be no art party this month, but instead we're going to be having art classes. I'm teaming up with the Geeky Crochet, aka Maria. Plenty of you have seen her on the art party, and we are going to give you trying to figure out what camera to use. We're going to give you a 4-week class on how to draw dragons. So step by
Not
step.
how to train your dragon, how to draw your dragon.
No. You can train them later. We're not educated in
Curious.
that, but we're going to teach you how to draw dragons. And yes, you too can draw these things. It's all about simple shapes, and we're going to teach you about a little bit about shading along the way as well. So it's going to be for 4 weeks. It's free, except for maybe some supplies that maybe you don't have. You don't have to have expensive stuff. Pay attention to the community chat. Hopefully you subscribed here if you haven't, but if you're interested, it's going to be on the Friday. It's going to be
Dollar Tree.
the 28th. Yeah. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can go to the Dollar Tree, the dollar store. Just need some pencils, an eraser, and paper. I will put a supply list of basic supplies, and then if you want to step it up because it does make your life a little easier, and you got a little extra coinage, maybe some more advanced supplies, if you would like to try that out as well. But we're going to teach you how to make dragons.
So excited! You guys are gonna be real Khaleesi's.
It's going to be great. And always remember, you're never going to be an expert at something that you just started doing. So don't put that pressure on yourself. But the best place to start is at the beginning. So we all had to start somewhere. Now we know how Dan reacts to, or Tabitha reacts to Dan's videos. For context, I memed Tuggs during Thursday watch party.
Oh yes, that's right. I forgot. I put that traumatic photo out of my mind, and here it is again.
Smoo living out here in 2035. Have Beardo promote the Renaissance painting on Bro Science. One of his viewers would probably scoop it up. You're right. I'll talk to Beardo. Oh yeah,
Who doesn't know what artwork is?
No, but one of his, they love Dan over there, so you never know.
That's fair. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt commercial made fun of the banana on the wall. Well, who wouldn't?
Yes,
Who wouldn't?
that commercial was cute. It was good to see the two of them together again.
So, how is you? Did you get your circle, or where are you at now?
I'm cutting out this stencil because I don't know that I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm not sure that I'm going to have room.
That's fine.
We're just going to go with this.
Just a
So
star
trying to
is
cut
totally
out
fine.
this. Yeah, I'm trying to cut out. So I'm going to cut this out around, and then this needs to stay in here so I could paint the halo. Am I doing that right? You know how long it's been since I've cut out a stencil? I think I was like, in kindergarten.
That's okay. One time I was teaching kids how to paint when in my old job, and talked about stencils, and I was like, "Did you guys bring your stencils?" And they're like, "What's a stencil?"
Oh
Like,
no.
What do you
All right,
mean?
how
what's
did
a
you do
stencil?
yours? Let me see your stencil. What do you mean, what's a stencil?
What's a
All right, you
stencil?
cut this. Oh,
So
you cut them separately. Okay.
Okay, so I will let you know that I took the halo off because I figured it was the easiest way. Like that's the easiest thing
okay.
that I can add to my thing. It's like, oh, just make a spaghetti-o at the top of my scarab,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
That's
like
fine.
I said, yeah, this kind of paint here takes a little while to dry, so that's perfect that you're
So you cut out the whole. Okay, so you just cut a giant circle out of here and cut this out.
So originally, I'll tell you let me tell you my process. So originally, I just cut out this. Oh no! I cut out the star.
Oh no!
I cut out the star, and then I traced it on there. And then when that was done, I just cut out the scarab to make it easier for myself. But either way, you could do it either way. It's just that obviously the star will be a little more fragile.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. Okay.
But it still works the same.
And the gold takes a while to dry, you said anyway. So in theory, I could just yeah. So are we tracing the outside? Is that what we're doing?
Yes. You're gonna trace. So
Okay.
let me bring up the
I'm just trying to plan my brain.
So you can see her here that you can see here that I have the star already out.
Mhm.
It's outlined, and then I trace. I basically we're gonna paint the star, and then I'm gonna let that dry, and then put the beetle over top of it.
Okay, perfect. So I think I will probably keep the halo. I'll just cut it out when I cut the beetle out. and then we'll, because I can't do a circle to save, like a perfect circle to save my life. So
I didn't do a perfect circle, but it looks really good, so it's okay.
it looks
But
really good. Yeah.
you just remember, it's like
Cool.
it's supposed to be rustic. You know?
Listen, this is my vision.
You know what we should have done, Tuggs, now that I look at your canvas, is that we should have gotten journals, big journals, and painted this on there.
Oh my God, that'd have been so cool. Well, I'll have to come back. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, do it again. But that looks really good. I like that because you know what it is. Like, that's
Yeah.
super cool.
And yeah. And so, but the lines, I feel like the lines I might go in and maybe mix the silver with the black a little and maybe just rustically, your favorite word, touch up some of the, because like these are really prominent down here, but these aren't. And I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what we get there.
I'm gonna just
5 days from now, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna send you a picture and be like, look what I did.
be like, I don't remember. I've moved on since then. I'm a different person now. I'm painting fruit. Excuse me. I'm taping fruit to the wall. Excuse me. Speaking of art and stories, my big art ability shows its best version with pen and crayons. It's a good starting point. Is that it a good starting point before starting with oil paint? Pen and crayons will not get you ready for oil paint. Acrylic paint could get you ready for oil paint because they're
Isn't oil paint the hardest paint to deal with?
It depends. It kind of depends. So so for this, Freddie, is that pens and crayons are basically branches of the same medium. So if you don't know what a medium is, it just means the tools with which you are working with to make artwork. It could be clay, it could be string. Those are your mediums, what you're using to make art, right? So pen and crayons are kind of like like branches of themselves. They're basically sticks that produce color, that you draw with, right? But or and color, like markers, pens, crayons, they're kind of in the same family, if you get what I'm saying. You have to hold them and push down and all this kind of stuff. Whereas oil paint is completely different because it's loose and free flowing. You have to learn how much to apply to the canvas or whatever it is you're painting. You have to typically use the right brushes. They're different lengths, so these are pretty standard paint brushes. Professional paint brushes are like yay long. There's a reason for that. Everybody thinks it's kind of funny and ridiculous. There's absolutely a reason why paintbrushes are this long. But so if you wanted to get started in painting, I highly recommend acrylic. Now, the reason why people say oil painting is one of the hardest paints to work with is because of the dry time. Technically, it doesn't dry, it cures because it's oil. It's not wet, even though it's science, but we just say it dries. Because if you have a really good oil paint, it can take weeks to dry. If you have the really highfalutin, expensive stuff. Why this is a good thing is because if you're painting something of significance, whatever that means to you, you can what they call push and pull the paint around to adjust it as needed, right? You can just easily go back in tomorrow and fix it. Whereas with acrylic paint, you can't do that. It dries in a matter of minutes. So you can't push and pull. Now, some people, I started with acrylic, and one reason I do like acrylic paint is because it dries so quickly. And so if I don't like something, I can just cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like with our paintings here, if I don't like my circle, or like we said earlier with the little symbols or things on the bottom, if I didn't like it, I just could cover it up. You can't necessarily do that with oil paint because it takes so long to dry, and it's expensive. It's more expensive because it's more expensive. It takes better quality stuff. So it just depends. I have now worked into the world of oil painting for the past couple of years. And one reason that I love oil paint is because the colors, in my opinion, are much more rich and vibrant. And I just really enjoy the push and pull. I enjoy the thickness of the paint. I find it just makes the painting look more regal because it leaves behind the brush strokes and the bumps and stuff if I so choose to. So it adds a lot of texture. So that's the thing too, with acrylic paint, doesn't really leave texture. It leaves it flat, which is fine. Oil paint typically, because the paint is so much thicker, it leaves behind textures. So it just looks a little, flamboyant, extra flamboyant. There is no wrong or right in either way. purely preference. But people start kids out on acrylic paint because it's cheap and usually it's easier to clean up because the dyes they use in oil paint is, oh man. And oil paint just tends to get everywhere without you thinking about it. So that's just one of those things. And look,
That's
it is horror with
crazy.
knots. Good morning,
Hi,
Nadia.
Horror.
Good
What's up, Nat?
morning. 100%, says Lady Marine. Painting is much easier on my bad hand versus, yeah. There's a
Yes.
different,
Pencils,
different,
crayons, a lot of wrist movement.
there's a different structure. That's the other thing too. A lot of people might think that, oh, artists have it so easy. They just sit there and do nothing. You don't understand the muscle tone and the dexterity that takes, because when you're painting for hours or drawing like this, it's not just your hand. It's your whole arm has to stiffen, your whole core and shoulders. You have to train your body to sit there for hours and not move. So all of a sudden, when you finally take a break or you stop painting, you're exhausted because you've actually engaged your entire body in the process. It's just that you had to stand still. Hey, Holocron Library.
Easy.
Fox, good morning. Hello. Yeah, that's why my left arm is stronger than my right. So my right arm is stronger than my left, but my left hand is more dexterous and precise than my right, if that makes sense. So,
Interesting.
where are you at, Tuggs?
Oh, I'm waiting for instructions.
Okay, feel free to interrupt me because I was just talking.
No,
and
you're
I didn't know
fine.
where you were. I was trying to
I
give you
was
space.
listening. I was
Okay.
listening. And also, I randomly discovered that this pack of palette for my paints, it's an actual pack, and I have like 4 more.
Nice.
So shout out to the Dollar Tree. $1.25, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I didn't even know. That's so cool. Cool.
So
Anyway.
my paint is still wet, so I
Uh-oh.
can't do this. But what you can do, what I can walk you
Okay.
through, let's pretend I'm Tuggs here, is that you have your star,
Mhm.
and now according to the movie and the book, for the book, the dot part goes at the top.
Yeah.
So you just put that wherever you want to on your canvas, and you grab yourself a little pencil, and
Okay.
you just carefully go around the edges and mark. You should
Okay.
be able to see it even on the black because this is most pencils are made with graphite, and so it's shiny. It's kind of reflective, so you'll be able to see it. But what's really great about using it against the black is if you kind of mess up, it's easy to just kind of dismiss it.
Do you have a backup plan if I don't have a pencil? Did I use a pen?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a
Just
Sharpie?
make sure that you're not
I wonder
flicking it
I wonder if this would work. Let's find out.
Give it a try, see what works best. Annie uses oils, but she uses thin layers. Told me she loves oil because she can work over here, then move to another spot. Yeah, exactly. It's workable. It's like, okay, like when I was working on like my Dan Vass painting, it's like, okay, let me work on his eye. All right, I'm tired of that. I'm gonna work on the ear or the neck or the hair. And you don't have to worry about it drying. You can always come back to it. It's just sometimes because artists tend to bounce around their paintings or their drawings. I do that all the time when I'm coloring my chibis. And so it's just like, all right, I don't know why we do that. We just bounce around. And that's what really is great about oil painting is that it allows you the flexibility. Whereas with like today with acrylic, we don't get that luxury because it dries so quickly. Over there, I see Blazing All Day says, hey, on Kick. Hello there. Thank you to all the new followers. Thank you to all of my moderators as well for keeping the chat clean. We like to keep it squeaky clean over there as much as possible. That's what we do. All righty, Rooney. Let me see here. This is like that awkward moment where it's like, well, what do I do? Because my paint is still wet. So we can fan. And that's the thing too. So some people, it's our ADHD. I don't know. Maybe I have that. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe that is something. Maybe it's a common thing, but I'm just going to try to dry this as quickly as possible. The other thing is that one of the other things is that some people are like, oh, you're using a stencil. It's not real art or whatever like that. Professionals use stencils all the time. We use references. I've had some people tell me that you're not a real artist because you're using references. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, you are not an artist because everybody uses references. You don't have to use them purely as far as like, okay, what's there, have to make it look exactly. It's just a reference. It's to give you an understanding. It is difficult for our minds to comprehend all the details of everything. Dogs, people, hair, buildings. So you just use it as a reference and then you make it your own. Professionals, they will recommend not ever creating without some kind of reference because there's just too much for you to focus on. And it's just to give you a point of reference.
Get it? A point of reference.
This is true, Lady Marine. You can get a substance that, like this gel stuff that will prolong the dry time of your acrylic. It's just another thing that you're going to have to get. Still not the same as oil paint, but it helps. Something when I started doing portraiture, I would do two different things. I would mix what's called mixed medium or media. I would do acrylic paint backgrounds, and then do my subject in oil. So I did that with like my Mr. T painting, my Morticia meets Harley Quinn painting, my Gina Carano meets Elizabeth Bennet painting, and do an acrylic background because doesn't take that long to dry, and then do the rest of it in oil paint. And so that way it also sticks out a little differently from the background, which is nice. So that way it almost looks like it has like this bokeh effect in the back, like blurred. They're called
Clever.
tools. It's how you use them. Exactly. Fantastic. All right. Not too bad. And look how nice and shiny we get. So that's kind of the hard thing too with maybe acrylic paints or gloss paints. It can be kind of difficult for the newbie to know if it's dry or not, because it's meant to be reflective. I can tell where there are some areas that are slightly, I don't know, more reflective than others. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with it so that way we can do all our stuff. Freddie says, what is your best technique when you have to paint fur and animals or hairs on human? It depends on the hair. You know, like if you're going to do the little wisps around somebody's face, a very, very fine, like this is, let me hold that up. This is considered a fine tip. This is not the finest tip out there. There's much, much finer. So you need that. But my technique for when I'm doing fur is to get a brush that you don't love as much as you love your other brushes. Usually they're brushes that look like this, or I do love me a flat brush. And basically get a flat brush that, for me, I get a flat brush and make sure it's as dry as possible. And then you just kind of, how do you describe it? It's almost like dry brushing, but it's not. And this will give you the really fine hairs. I'll have to do a tutorial on that for you guys, so that I can show you. It's sometimes difficult to describe versus tell. I know that I'm the type of person that I learn better when I see it and am being instructed versus just being, told. But yeah, there's different methods. Lady Marine says she uses a fan brush. I'm not the biggest connoisseur of the fan brush. I'm still learning. I love the fan brush for making trees. Not the biggest fan of using it for myself for fur because I haven't mastered the art of the fan brush. I use my fan brush primarily for when I draw, to brush off excess graphite or pencil shavings or eraser stuff without smudging my picture. But yeah, I use pretty much for fur, I will use a distorted flat brush that has seen better days. So that way what you want to do with hair is you want it to be inconsistent. That's what will make it realistic. Surprise, surprise, nothing is perfect. And if you try to make it perfect, that's what makes it look unrealistic. I will a lot of times intentionally leave something imperfect, even though it bothers me and I could easily correct it. But it's like, if I'm going for realism, no, leave it a little imperfect, because that is what's real. And it keeps you humble too, but it's real. It's like, okay, no, that's a little bit wonky. Well, yeah, but that's how it would be in real life. If every hair is laid perfectly, it's not real, Tabitha, for how long can you read books, if at all? If your answer is more than 15 minutes, you don't have ADHD. I'm not kidding. That's from a psych med book, not me. Well, I also think it depends on the book, but I could definitely read a book for more than 15 minutes. Oh, that looks so good. I mean, I get distracted sometimes when I read my book because I like to sit outside when I read, or I will read as I walk to the mailbox. But I always come back to my book if that answered your question.
For anybody who wants to know what I used here in a pins, it's a gel pen.
Nice. My gel pens never work.
hopefully, my gold will cover it. I would imagine it's white, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
If not,
stress
it gives
over
it
it.
that extra shine. All right. So I think I can catch. Well, so you're just gonna fill in your star the way that the way I did
Alright.
my circle. I'm gonna see if I can
Okay.
try to catch up to you. It's
I think
gonna
I'm
be
gonna try and start. But the Dollar Tree had two different golds. I was telling Tabitha this earlier.
yeah.
There's like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but they're definitely. I'm gonna try and come down here maybe. We
One
have
has
this
a little
one,
bit
which
more
is
of a bronze tint to
yeah,
it.
and this one's more
Reddish.
yellow.
Mhm.
So my theory, assuming these stay these colors, which is a bold assumption, is I think I'm gonna do the outlines in this dark one, and then maybe color in the middle with the goldy one, yellowy one.
Yeah.
We're gonna find
Mix
out.
and match.
So so then do I trace
I lost
over
my
with my
star.
tiny brush the lines then, or there's a bird on my window?
I was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh my gosh, hi sweet pea. Is the feeder empty? Okay, I fix it when we're done. Oh my gosh, it's a little chickadee. He's so cute. Okay, bye. Oh, I feel like a Disney princess. That's the first time they've ever actually come to the window.
Yeah,
Those of
you
who
could.
watch Saturday on Crimson Throne, you know how much I'm always distracted by the birds outside. I've got cardinals, I've got chickadees, I've got titmouse birds. They're amazing. Anyway, okay.
I do love.
Sorry.
We need them. No, you can use your fine tip brush. That will make it easier, obviously, for the things. The other thing is that when you're painting, and we've got a lot of hard edges in here. Don't get so lost in that. We're going to be redefining that stuff later anyway. But don't get so lost in it's not perfectly straight or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then do I trace the outline that I just traced with the pen, or with that? Is that what I do?
You could do that if you feel like that would be more comfortable for you. It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Well, we're gonna get it as close as we can.
Because that's essentially what you. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm answering your question incorrectly. Let me bring up our guide here. So you've already you're doing it a little bit differently. Yeah. So just go ahead and fill the whole thing in, because you see here we're gonna go around it with a little bit of a darker paint too to make it look like an impression.
Okay.
Hey, it's Mo Zamboni in the house. How are you, Mo? Have you gotten caught up on your sleep? You making it in this world? The one thing that I noticed with like metallic paints too is like harder to see my pencil stuff. So I gotta like really pay attention, go over it a couple of more times. It's probably not a bad idea that you brought the gel pen. I kind of forgot how difficult it can be to outline on
I'm like,
Guild.
shoot, I don't have a pencil. Then what can we work with here?
Oh yeah, there's always. I mean, that was one time when I had the kids in the class, right? And they had no idea about tracing. And I took that for granted. I just assumed that all kids eventually learn stencils, right? And
Yeah.
tracing. Right. Some of these kids, like, of course, some kids just jump the gun. They just keep going. And they're like, "Do I do it like this, Miss T?" And they look up and he took paint and traced all around the stencil. And of course, paper gets wet, it
Oh
sticks, it
no.
crumples, it does weird things. And I'm like, "Oh," and of course he outlined it in black, thick
Of
paint.
course. Of course.
And it's like, "Oh, hey kid. Well,
No.
you got to be encouraging, because the last thing you need is because you're on a time crunch. You're like, we can't start this over. That's normally we would do this with a pencil, but you know what? It can work with a
We'll
thick
make it.
black line of
fine.
paint. It's okay. It's okay.
That's so crazy to me because like I grew up with I don't know if you ever had these growing up. I would assume you did, but you remember the tracing paper books, and it was this thin,
Mm.
I almost like a wax paper feel to them, and you literally could put it over an image and you could trace the image. It was see-through. It was the coolest thing. And then you could color in the tracing paper as you wanted to or whatever. It was pretty cool. That's what I had. And that was my idea of drawing, because I can't draw to save my life.
Well, then there was
But
also we would like at school we would trade stencils. Like we would get like these little square stencils from art packs
yeah,
and stuff like that, and you would trade them. Like I guess the kids aren't doing that anymore.
I guess
Jonathan
not.
Reyes, good morning. I did today. MegaCon wore me out. Chiropractor gave me the business yesterday. I'm old. I feel you. Ted,
Oh,
since we're kind of on different methods here, because I have my big golden circle. I have to outline mine with the paint. So I am mixing a little bit of black with my gold.
that's what I'm doing right now. Look,
Not a lot, but and then I'm just gonna
I'm outlining mine with the darker gold, and then I'm going to use the yellow gold.
yeah.
And we're going to see how this works. This may look terrible, and I might have to paint over the whole thing. And we're going to sit here for the next 2 hours. I don't know.
I got places to be, so if that's you help yourself. No, we're gonna get it done. So the rest of this is pretty easy peasy lemon of squeezy, because we are following. We're using the stencils, so it's
The
okay.
tricky part here is not put your hand in the paint.
That is definitely. That's why it's nice to try and wait till it's dry, but it's not always, it's not always the way. I probably should have brought a finer tipped pencil or paintbrush, but we are here today. Marriage is what brings us here today.
We watched that on Geeks and Gamers the other night.
I have to give my hot take. Princess Bride is an okay movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a cinematic masterpiece, but I think it's a cult
Yeah.
classic more than anything.
Yeah,
I love
I
it.
can watch it, I can enjoy it, but it's not like a movie where I'm like, you ever have your go-to movies where it's like
Yeah.
The Mummy, where it's like it never gets old. I laugh, I cry, whatever the case might be. But The Princess
Yeah.
Bride, I know everybody loves it, but I'm like, it's okay. I could probably go the rest of my life never watching it again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we're talking about with artwork. Like it's not necessarily a bad movie. It's just not really my cup of tea.
Yeah. That's why people get so mad about movies, especially in our community, we get so passionate about it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but people have different tastes. Like, I can like something that you don't like, or you can like something or not like something that I like, or whatever. Like, I can enjoy something for what it is. Like, I watched the Flash movie and I enjoyed it. Is it cinematic masterpiece? No. Will I watch it again? Probably not. Maybe if it's on and I need something in the background. But did I have fun watching it with its stupidity? I sure as heck did.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Oh yeah, no. I ever since discovering the nerds online and stuff like that, it has been since proven to me over and over again that women are not overly emotional. So are men. You just get a nerd talking about a favorite book, video game, hot topic, movie, and you disagree with them about something, and suddenly it's
The end
a
of the
lot
world.
of hormones all of a sudden are flying around in the air. And you know what? And that's not a bad thing. It just goes again to prove. I like to say this is how let's see if you can jump on board with this. When it comes to emotions, most of the time, women are waterfalls, men are geysers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is a great way of putting that.
So it's not that
Yes.
men are less emotional than women. Women are more attuned with them and ready to express them. Which, of course, as if you're a mature woman, you learn to understand how to control your emotions. Okay, this is why it's such an explosive and flabbergasting moment when dudes explode with either passion
Yeah.
or anger or whatever it is. Like you seen a guy put together a shelf? Okay,
Oh
lots
my
of
God.
emotions flying everywhere. But
I have
it's
to take
but
a
that the
detour
thing
to
is,
the
it's
dog.
like it's okay. Like it's not like it's a bad thing. People think it's like this weak thing to be emotional. It's not. It's a weak thing to be immature with your emotions. It's all about how you handle it. And some people, I got to do the shout out for my Danny, my friend Danny from Comics and Everything, because she did the most amazing video. You guys have heard me brag about it. I still to this day, it's been like a year later, gave the best video, and it was about Wonder Woman. So it's about the nerd realm. But her video was all about why is it that we still to this day love Wonder Woman and that superhero movies just can't get females right. Like, what is it
Yeah.
about
What
it?
is it about that?
And
Yeah.
this video explains it all so perfectly. Like, I don't make phone calls, but I called her immediately after I watched that video and I said, this is the most amazing video I've ever seen on the breakdown of the differences between males and females and what's good about being different. So she's also,
Yeah.
I think she minored in psychology
Oh, well,
in
that'll do it.
college. So not only do you have the whole nerd movie realm, but then you actually have like science and biology behind it. And it was so good. And I was saying one of the reasons that we love, spoiler, one of the reasons that we love Wonder Woman is because she was so kind and tender. She
Mhm.
didn't just automatically resort to butt kicking. She could do it if she had to, but she tried to diffuse the situation. And most of the time, because women are built to be nurturers, that is their go-to thing. It can be seen as a weakness, but it is actually a strength, just in a different
Yes.
pursuit. And so she had no problem kicking butt and chewing bubblegum if she had to, but that was not her default response. Whereas men are typically the protectors. And so the most of the time, the immediate response is to kick butt and chew bubblegum and talk later. And
Yep.
so that's not a bad thing. And that's why men and women are meant to complement one another. And she said, this is what's wrong in cinema today with female superheroes, is that they're all kick butt. They never try to diffuse the situation. In fact, they have to prove to the men that they too can diffuse or, figure out the problem. They can also carry the guns and they can, parkour all over the place. There's nothing wrong with a woman kicking butt, jumping all over the place and smacking a dude in the face, but it takes away from what women are inherently. And
I
that is the
love that.
beauty. That is the beauty of Wonder Woman, is that she could kill you if she had to. She's trying not to, and she's trying to
Yeah.
lead you to the light. She's trying with her lasso of truth. She wants you to tell the truth. She wants you to be a good person. But if you choose violence, she's like, okay. She's cracking her
You
knuckles.
started this.
You asked for it. And so right now, Hollywood can't depict women in a beautiful way because they're competing with men instead of embracing what it means to be
Embracing.
female.
Yep. I mean,
And
even Black Widow, with as physical as she is, there she also has to have the art of the chat, and they
Mhm.
started out that way with her, but it didn't land that way.
Mo says, I feel seen. Which part? Um, Swearing says, Stunning and Brave Megatron is an important part of putting together IKEA furniture. This is what men believe. If you ever
That is
seen your
facts.
mom and dad try to work together to put furniture together, the dad doesn't want to listen. And I'm not dissing on men. Like, this is just, it's funny how it is. Typically, dad's like, I got this. And the woman's like, well, mom's like, have you tried doing this? Look, I got it. And then he gets frustrated and he grunts and he makes a bunch of noise. Meanwhile, the wife's like, if you would just, like, she's trying to
Have you
diplomatically.
considered
Yeah. Have you tried
reading the
that?
instructions?
No, look, and it's okay, and this is where, again, we grow as humans and how we interact. I've done this with my brother as well. Like, he'll be playing I grew up watching my brother play video games instead of playing video games. It was okay. I didn't mind it. And this I find this to be like a really wonderful story, is that he would play video games and he would get like Legend of Zelda. The water temples are always the hardest, right? And he would get
Mhm.
stuck and not know what to do. And he would get frustrated. And of course, in the video game, he's breaking everything, breaking the pots and throwing things and just blah, blah, blah. And I'm just in the back watching and I see things from a different perspective. And I'm like, well, have you tried doing that? I already tried doing this. I'm like, yeah, but have you tried doing it with this, whatever the case might be? I'll give it a try. It's it's like this outburst of frustration, very
Yep.
strong emotion, right? And then he goes and tries it and it works. It's not because I'm better than him. It's not because I'm smarter than him. It's just, hey, I haven't let my emotion, like, we were teenagers, by the way. It's a lot different now. But it's like I'm able to see things a little clearer because I'm an
Yeah.
outsider. and I'm not interacting in that moment. And so obviously we know that our emotions can cloud us. That's why women can diffuse men's anger, and men can diffuse a lot of times women's sadness or their overthinking, because they stand on the outside and they think
Or
differently.
they're
Again,
like when we get super emotional and overreacting, it's like, hello, calm down. Yeah.
yeah, and men are really great for help. That's what I was saying. It's, people think that like you notice on the internet, we're always being pitted against each other for our differences. No, 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 no. We are meant to bring harmony. We're balancing each other out, the
Exactly.
whole yin and yang. We help men with their emotions, even if it's not on the regular. We help men with their emotions, and men actually can help women with theirs.
With ours. But we get so offended. It's like he's telling you to calm down. Well, don't tell me to calm down. You know, it's like, okay, or maybe we calm down.
Exactly, Mo. He's an emotional geyser. If a man had emotions like a woman in marriage, it would be literal chaos. It would be. It would be. And so,
Yeah.
and that's the thing too, is that a lot of times women, again, being nurturing, women, what we call, people could say that they overcomplicate or they overthink things, but it's also part of it's a strategy thing, and it's a defense mechanism because
Mhm.
of the nurturing. And most women are trying to make sure that peace is maintained in their lives. Now, I
Yeah.
would say mature women, okay? Some women get older and they're just selfish, okay? But mature women will try to diffuse the situation. So the problem that a woman can easily face is that she will overcomplicate, overreact,
Yeah.
overthink a situation, not because she's irrational, far from it. It's actually because she's trying to prevent 6 possible outcomes. She's basically Doctor Strange. She's looking into the future, seeing
Yes.
6 different possible outcomes. And if
Yep.
she's not careful, she will let that overwhelm her. And that's when it's a beautiful thing when the man steps in and says, honey, sweetie, baby cakes, let's just
You're
face the
overthinking
problem that we can handle. And just being seen, being heard can easily diffuse and settle a woman's, you know, not all the time, because sometimes it does. That's again, we have to work on ourselves. It's every day. It's every day, bro. Okay. Until we
It's
get to the
every day.
promised land, we got to deal with ourselves all the time. Like
Yeah.
that's just how it is. It's not to say that women never have their flaws. I am not ever going to be on that bus. It's more of like learning to communicate, learning how women and men respond, because we are wired differently. And then it's beautiful when we come together and figure things out. I know that sounds like a Hallmark movie that Tuggs would watch, but it's actual truth.
Yeah. It is true. That's why I like the Hallmark movies, because they always come together in the end and figure it out.
Uh,
Yeah.
Megatron says, I've actually become a professional at putting together IKEA. Yeah, you do it often enough, that's for sure. My father was well advised not to listen to my mother, and what he did worked. Interesting. Well,
Like when she was being a crazy person. I get that. Or in
and
general.
men don't understand. Women have a lot to do, and this is not a cry for sympathy. It's more of just like, hey, try to understand our hormones change from week to week. We can't control
Literally.
that. It literally from it's been proven, it's been week to week. We can't control that. So we appreciate it when you guys give us grace, because even we get frustrated that we are women.
It's
Wait, did
so we
Tuggs just
can't
say we
catch
can
them.
tell women to calm down? No. No, 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 no. It's all about wording too. You tell us like, hey, look, honey, we got this. It's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. How about we just focus on the problem at hand? Let's not worry too much about the future. Don't tell her just to calm. See, because that doesn't resolve anything,
Nope.
right? That's more of like just like giving instructions rather than hearing what was said. It's like when you tell somebody just to calm down, it's like you're annoyed with them. It doesn't help diffuse the situation. Now, some
Nope.
people need to be told to calm down. Like dudes don't seem to have a problem being told to calm down because they think differently with women than women. So, um, what is it? It's not emotion. It's a definitive display of how correct we are. You can think that. That's okay. Oh my gosh, there's a reason why lesbians have the most amount of divorces. Balance, it's in the,
There
it's
is none.
it's the force, gotta balance. Hello, overthinking women with a man that quiets that. Yeah, no, you're meant to help each other. That's the thing. At the end of the day, you mountain, you're laughing. We're meant to help each other, and of course, we can make fun of each other as long as we remember at the end of the day, we're none of us are actually better than each other. We all got
Right.
our flaws.
Some people forget that part.
All right, so this is dry. I'm gonna put my little beetle bug in here.
All right. I've banned mine for a second. I think mine's dry. What do we think, chat?
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a check-in. Ooh, oh, I love the distressed look of your inner portion of the star. That looks so good. It looks like roughened gold. Is that a word?
I
Roughened?
didn't do it on purpose.
It's a happy accidents. No, see,
a
that's really
happy
great too.
accident.
Oh, perfect.
All right, now I need to cut out my beetle barb. Wait, you're doing the beetle, right?
Yeah, I'm going around my beetle,
All right.
my little angelic beetle. So
Are
what's
you
your
tracing
favorite?
it
Oh,
with
I'm
paint?
tracing it. No, I'm tracing it with my pencil, and then yeah, I will outline it with the dark, just like I did with the outside. Oops. You can see it doesn't translate quite as well on the camera, but you guys could see it's there. You know, I've got my outline.
Are you tracing it? Did you trace yours with the dark, like a black, a light?
I mixed black with some gold.
Okay.
I did the taboo. I put black. Yeah, compliments.
Black and
I mean, we are opposite, but yeah, opposites are supposed to complement. We'll be married for 20 years in June. Congratulations. That's a quite snaps from Mo.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful news. We need more news like that. Continually trying to find the middle ground and harmony is what makes marriage wonderful. Yeah. And you know, that's the thing. You know, I've heard a preacher say one time that he was married for like 40, 50 years, something like that. He was like, the thing is, he's like, this is how I know God has a sense of humor. He's like, just when I finally, you know, I've been married for a while, just when I finally figured out my wife, he's like, menopause.
Oh, golly, yeah.
He's like, that's how I know God has a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. We women, listen, I know, you know, the mainstream people are always like, women have it so hard, but we can't catch a break, women. I don't know what it is. Our hormones are all over the place, you know, and then of course society doesn't help, you know, any of that because I didn't even know we had 4 phases of our hormonal situation. It's just like, oh, well, it's 28 days. Like, okay.
It's not so much more than that.
There's so much more than this.
You know, and that's the thing too. It's like women are always on the. We talked about this in my chat quite frequently. Like, where it's like women are always on this road of self-discovery, and that sounds like some kind of like Buddha nonsense or whatever like this.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily self-discovery. Who am I as a person, and what is my purpose? It's more of like, why do I feel like crap? Like 6 days out of 7 or something like that. It's not because we're trying to be like enlightened and super spiritual. It's more of like, how am I supposed to get through life if I'm constantly feeling like this? And then when you find out all the stuff that we've been eating and the medications that they're prescribing actually have been messing up women's hormones and stuff like that. Now you know why there's so many crazy freaking weirdos out there. On top of the immaturity, like there is a line to be drawn. There's just some women choose to never mature. Some women choose to be selfish and never grow up. But that's a huge factor, guys. But not all women are like that. We're not all crazy. You know, we have our crazy moments, but trust me, we know when we're being crazy, and a good woman will apologize.
And like for me, like ever since I found out my, you know, our phases, shout out to Evie. I think I first saw that stuff on like Evie magazine. I was like, what? And I did my own research, but like I know I'll just be not nice, or I'll get frustrated over the stupidest stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, you lash out and you're like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh.
You're like, I'm not even mad. You're like, why am I mad?
This is my demon phase. I'm in my demon phase. There's a tiny little demon in me right now. Hold on.
Oh man, Mo's got to jump. Oh my gosh, he's known his wife for 40, been married for 20. Dude, he's got to jump on life.
Wait, did you marry her after 20 years? Mo, jeez. Or you just knew her first and then
I think he knew her first. He's going to be married for 20 years in June is what he was saying.
But you knew her but you've known her for 40. Oh, okay. So I hope you didn't wait 20 years to ask her. Jeez, oh. Unless you guys were like kids or something.
I would assume.
I need the story. Give me the story.
I would assume. Mo, I don't think Mo is that much older than me. So I think it's going to be that.
Oh, okay. Then that makes more sense.
Yeah. Although I did know this one couple. Hey, and you know what? You know, we can all be in each other's business and have our opinions about how you need to do life, but at the end of the day, it's mind your own business. But I did know this couple that they dated for 10 years before getting married.
Dude, no.
I
Mm-mm.
mean, yeah, I don't think that's the best route to go, but at the same
I
time,
don't know that I like that.
you
Like,
know,
if, you know.
they ended up getting
Mhm.
married, they had kids. As far as I know, they're still married. So it's like, hey, at the end of the day, it's none of my business and it works for you. It does not work for me.
No, that's crazy. I don't know that I would be happy waiting that long. I
I
don't
think,
know.
I think it also depends, like you were saying, like on the age. Because if you're kids, like if you're in high school or something like that and you wait 10 years, well, obviously, please wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Please
yeah, yeah.
wait.
But
Please
like,
wait.
if you're starting to date, I mean, even the relationship I'm in now, I'm gonna call Duke out a little. Like, we'll be together for 3 years, this year, and it's like,
Wonderful.
I don't mind the wait, but also you said you knew, so like, are we? Are we?
I just curious minds want to know,
I'm just wondering if we're still on the same page or no.
That's
Okay.
kind of funny because it seems like that always seems to it does seem that that's always the case. Like, again, we're all growing and we change, and so it's like, "Hey, are we
Mhm.
on the same page?" And just keeping tabs, like
Yeah. Like, is this still something that we're on the same page about,
Yeah.
or no? Or did I do something that maybe has made you hesitant, or, because,
She
what?
I'm sorry,
What?
Mo
No, you're
said
fine. Go
she
ahead.
was 3 and I was 4. Met again 20
Oh,
years
okay.
later, popped the question after 6 months. I had to lock that up.
See?
That's
6 months. That's what I'm
beautiful.
saying.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
It is
My parent
beautiful.
YM ran to 18. My parents have known each other for 51 years, married for 45. That's beautiful.
Hi,
Beautiful.
Amran.
Man, that's half a century. Could you
Isn't
imagine
that crazy?
spending
That's
your
so many
life
people's like
uh,
older people's stories though, is like their whole lives they grew together. It's so
yeah.
beautiful.
Like
I
you've known them through every you see, and that's what people don't understand today is like that's true love. It's like because you change a lot. You
Mhm.
change a lot in 51 years. The person that you are right now is not the person you were 5 years ago, is not the person you were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, somebody that's willing to stay with you through all of your changes and all of your growth, that's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
that's true. That's true love.
True love.
Um,
What brings us together.
it's so pretty. Oh my god. Okay. My parents will be married for 48 years in June. That's wonderful. Wonderful. My mom was 16 and my dad was 19. It's very, that was different back in the day too. Kids were a lot more mature at that time.
Yeah.
They weren't putting their booties on TikTok. God said there will be a good woman found in every corner of the earth. Then he made the earth round. I don't think God ever said that. Hey,
That's a
he
funny
said,
joke. I've heard that
it's
joke
funny though.
before.
He did say that whoso finds a wife finds a good thing though. He did specifically say that. Did the married thing. I'm okay with not doing it again, but I wouldn't say no to him either. And that's the thing. It depends on the person. Every person's different. And sometimes, there are struggles in our life that change who we are. And we need to take time for ourselves to figure out either
Mhm.
who we are now and if we are willing to go through that struggle again because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You watch people and you're like maybe your parents, maybe your brother and sister, maybe uncles and aunts. You're like, wow, I saw them struggle in their marriage. That looks like a lot of work. Is that for me? You have to be ready to ready up. Like you get
Yeah.
it ain't you gotta be ready to ready up.
Yeah. You
Um
can't you can't just wing it. It's a lot of there's a song that's come out recently. I can't think of the artist off the top of my head now, but he basically says, and I totally agree, because there's always the question, like, do you believe in soulmates? And I'm like, yes, but soulmates are made.
yeah,
They're not
I'm
found. You
agreeing with that.
make a soulmate. You
Yeah.
make a soulmate. It's standing with each other in the fiery pits of ridiculousness. It's standing by each other, and that's how you make a soulmate. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily. I think I'm gonna do this in black. This is not working. This is not heckin' working.
Um, my folks have been married for 58 years. That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mine have not.
Some change. My godmother and her husband have been pretty much the same for going on 50 years. Well, maybe to your eye. You talk to them behind the scenes, and they'll probably tell you, "Yeah, no, I used to hate
Oh,
him
yeah.
whenever he would do this. She used to irritate me when this, but now it's just like whatever."
Yep.
And
Or
that
they had
takes
to
a
go through
special
growth
grace.
period. There's always a growth period, always. Whatever it
Right.
is, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's being more and the reason we don't know about it is because people don't advertise that stuff.
Yeah, you gotta
It just
remember, that was the generation where you kept your private stuff private. You didn't tell
Yeah.
people about your marital problems or whatever like that, so it always looked like, everybody was fine, but it's like, meanwhile, you're out there trying to figure out how to make things work, and you figured it out together. You didn't go to the internet to fix your marriage by asking a bunch of strangers, "What should I do?"
Yeah.
Because everybody will have an opinion, and not everybody's opinion matters, and not everybody's opinion works for your life.
And the majority of the opinions will be bitter women that are like, divorce him.
Yeah. Yeah, that or men that have never been in a relationship.
Yep.
Because I hate to say it, guys, but she won't always look like Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney will not always look like Sydney Sweeney. And I want you guys to know that Sydney Sweeney has about a dozen professional people standing behind her at every moment, ready to make her look like Sydney Sweeney. She doesn't look like that by herself, by the way, guys. She does not.
Yep.
She does not.
Everybody ages, everybody's gonna be different.
That's like I saw a picture of the people. Oh, people are so disgusting. It's they don't live in reality. Let me put it this way. There was a picture of Selena Gomez from today versus 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And she was in this like, flirtatious attire, this black, suit thingy, bathing suit looking thing. And they're like, "What went wrong? I can't believe she looks like this." And it's like, okay, aging will do that. She's
Well,
in her
she also
30s.
has lupus.
Yeah, so she's
She's
got
sick.
she's got a sickness. She lives with a lot of stress, and she's 10 years older than what she was. That will change
And she's also
anybody.
had, for those that don't know, she's had, is it her kidney? Liver?
Transplant
Eh,
or something.
something was so she's had literal, like, I mean, her body goes through it. You could tell too when
Yeah.
she's having a lupus flare up because she gains like,
Yeah,
gosh,
so, a
30
lot of
pounds.
some guys were, really nice, and they're like, "I still think she's hot because she didn't look bad, she just looked fuller figured." And some guys are like, "No, you can't tell me that she's hot, she looks terrible, I can't believe she would do this, she looks like she's 54." And I'm like, "No, she doesn't, the
What?
problem is that she looks like the old-fashioned, typical 30-year-old woman back in the day." Because
Yeah.
usually at that point, most women had been married for about 10 years and had had about 3 or 4 kids. So she actually looks like the typical back in the day housewife. And we have become so accustomed to women working hard to maintain girlish figures throughout their
Mhm.
entire lifespan to their 30s and 40s that I think, and I can't blame the men necessarily for that, because if you're growing up with that, it's hard to detoxify that. But, you know, a lot of men, I don't think, understand that. Um, that's not normal. It's
Yeah.
not normal to maintain a very thin figure into your 30s and 40s. You can be thin, okay? You can be healthy and you can work to be thin. But it used to be most of the time, if you were in your 30s, you had already had about 3 kids and been married for 10
Mhm.
years. So
Yep.
you would look different. Your body is meant to change.
Just a fun fact. We're not meant to stay the same here, people. Especially women and having kids. Like, our bodies do not, I'm sorry. I wish, but they don't stay the same. Like, we just don't. Like I said, women go through it, man.
Mo is
Go
so
fucking through it.
sweet. My wife will always be hot. I will always have the hots for her. See, and that's how you've been married for 20 years. Selena Gomez
Exactly.
is still hot. I think she's still very, very attracted. Kidney transplant. That's a lot. Guys, you don't understand.
That's
That's
what
a
it was.
lot that the body has to go through. That's a lot.
And it's a risk.
And
Like, you don't know that you're gonna accept the kidney and
it's a lot of
you
stress.
know.
That's a lot of stress. No matter how attractive you are, someday you will end up worm food, says Deranged Lunatic. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Holocron Library Fox says also Tuggs. That's just one side of soulmates. It's complementary here as well. Does the relationship take work? Yeah, work. Yes, but there is a part that is prepared by God. Yeah, but it doesn't matter
Oh,
how
yes,
much
yes, yes,
God
yes, yes,
prepares you for something. If you're not willing to put the work in, it won't work.
yes. Correct.
God could call you into the. Noah could never have built that ark. If he didn't put the work into it. God called him to it. God gave him everything he needed for it, but Noah had to do the work.
No,
Dave, he put Dave. Okay, the best example is the King David. Did you know it took about 15 or 20 years before David became king?
No.
He got
That
anointed.
sounds about right though, because wasn't David a kind of an ornery little shit? I'm still
No.
new to the Bible, so I
Okay,
know
well,
that.
so the story of King David is that he was just a little shepherd boy, and he had like what, like 9 or whatever older brothers, and so the Israelites demanded a king, and there was Saul. Saul was not a good king, so they were like, "We need a new king. We need somebody new." So he told the prophet Samuel, he's like, "Go out and anoint so and so. I'll tell you when to do it." So they bring out all the brothers because they thought they were all the best ones, and he's like, "No, no. Do you have any more kids?" And he's like, "I got this young boy over here. He's just the last one. Whatever. He's just David." So David comes out, and God
Or
told
David.
Samuel, he's like, "Anoint that boy. He's the one that's meant to be king." So he anoints David to be king over all of Israel. It is called by God. David was not able to become king until like 15 or whatever it was years later, 20, 15 years later. And during that time frame, yeah, he killed Goliath and everything, and that's amazing. But number one, that was really stressful. And he actually got hunted down by Saul. He became like this favorite of Saul's, and then Saul hated him because David was better than him in
Mhm.
almost every way, not because David was braggadocious at that point necessarily, but because God put this blessing and this favor on his life. So people loved David more than they loved Saul. So Saul spent his every waking moment trying to hunt David down and kill him. David had to hide in the wilderness and all this kind of. David even married his daughter. Like he gave David his daughter. and
Jeez-o.
it was his daughter eventually ended up turning on David. She didn't like him. She ended up with some other guy. And so David kind of had to work and earn, I say earn, but like he kind of had to earn his way into becoming king. It didn't come like God ordained it and God willed it. He anointed
And
it,
it still took a
but it
freaking
took,
trial.
yeah, it still took all this because
That's
bad
why
people exist.
people are so funny. People are so funny because they're always like, "Well, if God truly loved us, why does he make us suffer?" And I was like, he let his son die one of the most inhumanely evil ways possible. You think he's gonna like be like, there, no troubles for you? No, what?
I mean, Jesus literally told us your life's going to suck, but it's okay. He
Yeah.
didn't say our life's gonna suck. He's like, there's gonna be hardships. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult. But be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. The cheerful part is not that God's gonna give you a carefree life. The cheerful part is that he can help you through every tumultuous aspect of your life. He can grant you the peace and the happiness that you need to live life in this cruel, unforgiving world with a wonderful, loving, forgiving God. That's the whole crooks. So by the way, I don't know where you're at on this. We've got our
Just
little.
finishing the Halo.
Okay. Yeah, halo. Yeah, people have a very big misconception about God and life. They're like, why is
He's a
God?
little crooked, but
Yeah.
it's fine. I think I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
go
thought you
over
meant
it.
God. I'm like, no, he's not Tuggs. Shh.
No. Well, he might lean a little this way. We don't know. But
Looks
my nail's a
good.
little crooked, but
So
I like it.
it looks very good. It's a lot more pronounced than mine is. So when it
I think I
came
might
to
go
this,
over it with a little gold. We'll see. Anyway, I'm listening. Sorry.
with a little bit of with this what obelisk or whatever this thing is over here, the runes on the book are very intricate and complicated. So what I did, let me make this a little bit bigger.
Was
here.
not that.
Was not I simplified it so that we get the general gist. So I kind of made like this weird little stick dude sitting on a chair. I put a couple of squiggles on here and just kind of had some fun with it. So I'm going to go and mix. I'm going to put this lid on. And God is the Father. Fathers have to be tough on you sometimes, says Mo.
Exactly.
God's not just going to give you a handout. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. He is gracious to sometimes he gives you a handout because like Mo said, he's a good father. But most of the time, God's like, hey, life is hard, but I'm here for you. If you need anything, let me know. But you still have to do this. You still have to do life. You still have to get up every day and work hard. You still have to deal with other people in your life. I'm sorry, but don't worry. I'm here for you. I'm here for
Are you
you.
mixing black and silver for
I
this?
am kind of like what I did for my scarab there. I know, guys, we went on to like this whole philosophical rant, the woman's corner. It's not really the woman's corner because guys need to know this stuff too, but most of the time women talk about it way more than guys do. But
Yeah.
hey, so well, let us go back to the beginning. Tuggs, which one's your favorite, The Mummy or The Mummy Returns?
Ooh.
I know, I'm asking the hard
I love them.
questions now.
I love them both so equally. Oh no, my mixing went wrong. All right, it's fine. Probably, gosh, I think probably The Mummy. Again, and I love The Mummy Returns. They're pretty equal, but The Mummy is probably my favorite because as much as I love The Mummy Returns, their child gets on my last heck of nerve.
Oh, really?
He bothers me. Yeah, he gets on my, and maybe it's because it's like, especially the older I get, I'm just like, kid, shut up. So I don't know if that's like me now
I
starting to
liked
become more of
him.
like a parental sort of thing where he does, will you just listen to your parents, you little turd,
Wow,
or
yeah.
what? But
Of course.
but yeah, probably the first one's probably my favorite. It just,
You know,
I remember being in theaters and being like, wow.
yeah. Oh, I didn't get to see it in the theater. Feel like I missed out. I like a good beginning story too. So I think I would have to say, by the way, I'm just kind of doing these little mermaid scales here at the base. Just a little something, a little decorative something something. Let me move this down a little further or closer so we can see. I definitely like the first one because, I love a good origin story, of course, but at the same time, I do love the second one. I think it's one of the few movie franchises, or I don't know, how many movies does it take to make a franchise? It's got 3 of them,
No
so
idea.
it's one of the 3, or excuse me, it's one of the few movies where I find that honestly the second one is just as good as the first one,
Yes.
even though I
Yes.
might have a preference towards the first one. It's kind of like Fellowship of the Ring. I really love Two Towers, and of course, I love Return of the King, but I love the beginning of the story. It's so good. Each one is just as superb as the next one, but it's like, um, I one of my favorite lines from that film, of course, is what's a place doing in a girl like this? I love it.
Every time I go back and watch that, the older I get, I'm like, were they drinking on set? Can
She
you
did that
act that
really
well?
well. Yeah, she
Can we
did.
act that well drunk? I just don't know.
I'm going to kiss you, Mr. O'Connell. Call me Rick.
Oh,
Rick, and
okay.
she just collapses.
I just love and you know what I think I love one of the reasons is this is again it's gonna be so girly, but one of the reasons I think women especially really love The Mummy is Rick O'Connell is a man and he's manly, but he also lets her be her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he lets her in her little quirks and he teaches her how to fight instead of saying, I'm the man, I'll save you all the time. He's like, okay, you want to learn how to fight? I'll teach you
Yeah.
how to throw a punch. And by the second movie, she's holding her own. He still
Mhm.
saves her and he still rescues her, but she can, hold
Throw a
up her own
punch
until
or
he's
yeah.
there. Yeah. And to save the day. And I love that.
You seem to be working hard, so I'm going ahead. I have no idea if you're following what I'm doing or not.
Oh, I am. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I was
okay.
looking at the picture you sent me.
Oh, okay. I just wanna make sure. Yeah, I think that's another thing too with their relationship, why it's so beautiful is like, he lets her be her and lets him be him, and they just work together on that stuff. So it's a really good film. And I will say that, that scene where she's like, why did you kiss me? He's like, this is right here. Also, I think the perfect harmony between the guy and girl energy when she's like, why did you kiss me? And he's like, I was about to be hanged. I thought it was a good
Yeah.
idea. Having no idea how that was going to come across to her. Like, she's obviously upset because she wanted to be told something completely different. And he
Yeah.
has no idea that what he said was like super insensitive. And that's a perfect guy girl dynamic right there. And I think that's one of the reasons why the movie works so well too, is because not only was their chemistry good, it was realistic. Like,
Yes, it
yeah,
was
it's
realistic. All right.
believable. Like, that's exactly how that conversation would go down.
Yep.
They didn't make him the perfect the perfect dude hero, right? Like sometimes there were a couple of times he got beaten up and his eyes are turning red, and then the moments where he didn't always have the swashbuckling answer. Like no, sometimes he said the thoughts out loud.
Yep.
Which is exactly Mo, there you go. Exactly. Princess Leia, I love you. Han, I know. Yeah,
I
that's
know.
not what you're supposed to say. That's not what you're supposed to say in that moment. It's totally a guy moment right there, but at the same time, it works. And now it's become a beloved thing where you get the T-shirts that say "I love you." I know. Oh, absolutely. Rachel Weisz was. I love that she grew in her eyebrows for the second one. I was really appreciative of that. But I appreciate the dedication that she would actually pluck her eyebrows for something like this to look authentic to the 30s, 30s or 40s.
Yeah, the 30s. Yep.
Oh, that would be a really cool cosplay. I did actually see some cosplays like that at MegaCon, and I wanted to stop the people and be like, "I love you. You look so good." But at the same time, I was carrying like hot coffee and stuff like that, and it wouldn't have been a good idea. So yeah, I'm just gonna do like a really wonky chair up here, and we're doing our famous stick figures, and it's just gonna sell. We're gonna know exactly what it is without knowing what exactly it is. Let me make this a little darker so we can see it. By the way, tonight, guys, I'll be streaming with Sevi. We're going to be coloring in our Achromatic Chronicles coloring books. It's going to be fun.
I missed out on the Achromatic. I'm sad. I don't know if it's still available or not.
I think it is for a limited time.
I have to look. All right.
You've had like 3 months, Tuggs. What is your problem?
I know. In my defense, I have 400 other coloring books that I should probably finish or color first.
Well, that's true. I understand that. It's kind of like we were talking about journals yesterday,
Yeah.
or not yesterday, yesterday. Dear God, how long do I think we've been streaming?
Forever. It's
earlier. Okay. Yeah, and so then I just do my little squigglies that look like
I don't know. I'm just making lines here. I have no idea what's going on.
It looks believable. That looks believable. Put the stick figure in a recliner. That's what he's doing. He's just kind of sitting back, grab a snack. Exactly. They were both awkward and clumsy at different times. See, yeah, he wasn't like the perfect guy, but he was the perfect at being a guy,
Yeah. Man goals.
He was like super awkward when he offered her the other guy, the stolen property from the other guys. Hey, I borrowed this from some of our American brethren, and I just kind of, and then he trips. Like it wasn't like he just came in with a smile and he's like, "I thought you would like these," Thank you for making realistic and believable relationship. Because that's what's
she's
so
looking at him like,
endearing.
"Did you steal these?" Like,
And
what?
she's just like, "Oh, I don't even care. He gave me a present."
When you know.
She's like, "He's so handsome, but don't tell him I said that." And then, of course, the brother, Jonathan. I say that all the time, too, when I'm like, we're playing like Fortnite or anytime there's a car. I'm like, turn, Jonathan, turn.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so good. I liked him. John Hannah, isn't that his name?
Yes.
He's good.
Listen, did I accidentally summon somebody? Maybe, but we put some symbols on there. I don't know. What do you think, chat? What do you guys think?
Oh, let's get a close up.
Ah!
Oh, shiny.
Hold on,
oh
wait.
my gosh. We should have totally done this on notebooks because that looks like a notebook.
It does kind of. I'm gonna end up filling all this stuff in eventually, but
so good. It looks so good. Mine, like I said, it's a little different from my original one. I think I made the other things a little bit bigger too. I think both are super fun. Obviously, I took more time with the detail on the other one because it was the mock-up, but
oh yeah,
he was in a movie with Gina. Who? John Hammond? Which movie? It's Dom H over there saying hi. Or no, he's saying hail. Excuse me. Oh, Scorched Earth. You're right. I did watch. Did you ever see Scorched Earth?
No.
It's one of her earlier films. Definitely not like the best one, but definitely interesting at the same time. And of course, she did a good job being the character that she was.
I did not see that one. My favorite is the one where she kicks the shit out of Michael Fassbender. And the name of it now is what?
Haywire?
Yes.
I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't.
Oh man.
Yeah, Scorched Earth was Terra Crystals lets us know that Scorched Earth was a western in a dystopian future. Yeah, I kind of liked the simplicity of Scorched Earth. It wasn't like the best film. It wasn't groundbreaking or anything like that, but it was just kind of fun. It was easy watching and kind of fun. And it's really neat to be able to watch like her progression as an actress.
Mhm.
Like definitely wasn't her best one, but it's like, as a fan, you're like, oh man, look how far like how you were saying with The Rock. Like look how far
Yeah,
she's
look how
come.
far she's come.
Look how
Yep.
far she's come.
Ah, there we go. That was driving me freaking heck.
My pleasure, Freddie. Hope your bus tour or whatever bus ride is enjoyable. Because as they say, don't just do whatever you like whatever you do. So, well, once you put all
Yay!
the runes on your little book cover, you must be very careful to never open it up. Let's have a look. Be careful. It's no harm ever came from reading a book.
What about painting it?
No, I don't know. Well, that's a whole other movie that they should consider making. No harm ever came from painting a book. By the way, I saw this. I would just quickly like to share this before we come to the end of our little road here. Is that I'm sure that maybe Tuggs has already seen this or she would appreciate this. But I was at a convention. They had a Book of the Dead replica, and I took one of their business cards. You too can own the Book of the Dead mummy prop replica for $299.95.
That's actually not a bad. Oh, it's got pages in it though. That's
So
cool.
it doesn't actually. So what happens, and it opens up, it's actually hollow
Oh.
inside. It comes with a key. I'm trying to get it. You can put a book inside of it. So it's
I was
actually,
reading
you'll
like
see.
bound textbook. Oh, so you can do options. Oh,
So it's a
interesting.
hollow box compartment. They have stuff. It's right there. It's just a book. No harm ever came from reading a book. It'll tell you can put like a journal into it, make it a jewelry box or container, or actually put a copy of the text of the Book of the Dead because it actually exists, guys. It doesn't look like this book here, but the Book of the Dead is actually a historic artifact that exists.
That's
It
cool.
just doesn't look like this. But yeah, Geekify, if you got $299 lying around, which one day I hope to have, I would love to have a replica of the
That
Book
is
of the
awesome.
Dead. Yeah.
I would love. There's also I found on TikTok this, and I can't remember the name of them right now, but it doesn't matter because their website's no longer active, which is a bummer. But they were
Oh.
making jewelry, like nerd jewelry, and so they made like a replica of one of the Kingdom Hearts swords, like as a necklace or
Ooh.
whatever. And they made the key from the Book of the Dead as a necklace, and I was like, and unfortunately, their shop is closed now. So depression, thy name is Tuggs. But yeah, it was really cool. It was cool looking. So
That makes me sad.
if they ever
What?
start selling again, I'll post the link.
Oh my god, I would love to
Shout out
have
to the double.
that. That's like the
I know.
like there's just some franchises that just don't get enough love. When I was at MegaCon, I'm looking around and I saw somebody dressed up as a SG-1 trooper, Stargate, and I was like, I love it. I'm like, our fandom just does not get enough credit, and he's like, and recognition. He's like, absolutely not. I mean, like the only thing I have, like this beautiful piece of jewelry here from the internet. It's a Stargate pendant and I wear it all the time. I love it. And it's like, it's so rare to see. And so,
And I love stuff like that because it's so subtle. Like you watch Stargate, so you're wearing it. And like if I was able to get that Book of the Key, like I would wear it. And if you know, you know. If you don't
exactly.
know, then you could be like, oh, it's an Egyptian piece.
Right.
You know,
If somebody
you don't wanna be
says the
worried about it.
bracelet from the Mummy 2, that would be a little cumbersome.
seen
But if
that
they
on
could flatten
Etsy.
it a little bit, then maybe that would work. As
I've seen it on Etsy. It would be cute as like a you remember the hand charms that were really popular where it was a bracelet and then you could do like a gold somebody hire me. You could do a gold chunky bracelet, about this thick or whatever, like a normal bracelet, and then have a chain with a scorpion as a ring. That'd be cool. That way it's subtle, but it is still work.
See, there were people that would buy it. Like, where are you guys? DL says for $199, can you make the Book of the Dead a kit and caboodle? It would actually, you could make it like the box that held the organs.
Ooh, yeah.
We get too many ideas. Look, we got the ideas. Just listen to the fans.
Universal has not had. This is why I'm so excited about this stuff that they have at Hollywood Studios right now. I'm like, I will fly to Vegas and drive there. I don't care. Is they have not had this whole time, except for when the movies first came out, they had Mummy, like, movie merchandise. The entire time since, it's been over 20 years, they've only had, like, Mummy the Ride TV t-shirts or
Yeah.
classic Mummy in there. They've never had anything from the movie. And now they have a Loungefly that's the shape of the Book of the Dead and it opens up. I want it. They have a t-shirt with Rick, the famous photo of him with his arms crossed, which I had
And
a
they
poster
have
of
the
in my room.
poster movie.
They have a poster
t-shirt.
without any text. It's just the poster. I want it all. And it's
I
like,
want it.
finally,
want it.
hello.
Yeah, like it's only been like 20 years, and here we are. We're like just help us
Drives
out.
me
We would love it.
bonkers. Big deal.
Why can't they just do the thing? You know,
Just hire me. I have merchandise ideas. Like, hire me. Hire me.
you're like I'm right here.
I'm literally right here.
Well, Tuggs, what do you think of your art piece? How do you think it came out? Was it fun? Do you like it? Tell us more.
It is fun. I had a good time. I'm gonna touch up some stuff probably.
There's always
Just
the
like make my
touch-ups.
little lines, a little more prominent maybe or something. I don't know. And put some final touches on it. Paint the edges because that drives me bonkers on canvases. when the edges aren't
Yeah, a lot of people paint the edges because it looks like a wrapped canvas, like as far as like a framed canvas already. You could even paint it gold all the way around just to make it a little blingy blingy if you
pretty.
wanted to. There's other
Ooh, am
sky's
I?
the limit. The sky's
Good
the
idea.
limit. Can you show
But
us
yeah, I
one
had
more
fun.
time what you created? Let's have a look. Oh, it's so good. And I think people would know right away what it is, even though it's
I
slightly
think so
different
too.
than the book itself.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's pretty easy. Well, tell the people where they can find you, what you're up to, what's life, and how can they treat
Um,
you better, and tell us about.
I am on Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. I usually do gaming streams. Every now and then there's enough news that grinds my gears that I'll do like a chat stream about pop culture or something. So you can find me. My schedule is usually on Twitch. I will be streaming tonight. I'm not sure what I'm playing. Not Mortuary Assistant. Tell you that right now. But I'll be
Daytime,
playing
you
games
sure?
tonight.
Daytime might be better.
That's fair. What else? Tomorrow, Sundays, I don't know if we're doing, but a lot of the times I'm on Sundays with X-Ray Girl, Kara, and Steph, and we do like craftings and
Ooh,
stuff. And then
nice.
Tuesdays morning roasts with Dan and X-Ray Girl. Wednesdays are Poor Choices where we drink wine and talk about relationship stuff. Kind of like what we did today, but instead of we got wine.
I had coffee. Yeah,
exactly.
it's the same thing.
I had coffee. It was delicious.
Well, we have loved having you on here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed having that Tugg Life on here. Oh, maybe I should ask that Tugg Life. Like, that's such a cool name, but like, why?
So that Tugg Life is a play on Thug Life from Tupac.
Yeah.
I thought it was clever. And Tuggs
It's like a cuter
is
version.
an actual nickname that I've grown up with. So I put it together.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
perfect because it is. It's kind of like, I knew that it was like a play on that Thug Life, which of course is gangsta. And then you've got like, but you make Tuggs, and it's like, it's kind of cute, kind of cutesy.
Yeah.
So it
So
works out.
Tuggs is a nickname that I've had growing up for golly as long as I can remember. And then so I was like, oh, I need a new, I need like a good Twitter handle that I can work with. And that was it.
It works
So
out
here we are.
really well. Freddie says, "Is this done?" Aw, well, we have been streaming for 2 hours.
It's been a
45
while.
minutes.
I
Been a
don't know
while.
how long these streams normally go, but I'm sorry if we went longer than we normally.
I'll learn to forgive you. But everybody says, have a good day, Tuggs. I really enjoyed this. Thank you. Giving some hearts. Tuggs promised to drink yesterday, but we got gypped. Well, hey, water is good. Good stream.
I did drink yesterday. I had water. I had wine in a freaking cup. I was dressed up for Valentine's Day. So it was a Valentine's cup situation.
Galentine's Day.
It didn't affect me because I was so scared that my blood was pumping and, I didn't get buzzed. Sorry.
Well, I think the people will learn to forgive you. Follow Tuggs.
Thanks.
Link in the description down below. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. And until next time, everybody.
If I was watching this video, I would like it. I would like the video, and I would probably subscribe because this is so thoroughly entertaining and also well executed. It's a